Chapter 30. The Moon Mother's Madness. This story is now over 100 words. Didn't see that coming. Shut up, Marvelo, I want to read your stupid story. Harry James Potter, you test my patience. These were the foreboding words Harry woke up to. The young wizard quickly grabbed for his wand and rose to his feet. At least he tried to, as he found himself standing right at the edge of a strange, smooth cliff. He cussed as he lunged backwards. Harry paused, as he could only feel the front half of his feet standing on solid ground. Harry looked behind him and nearly lost his balance at the sight of more cliff. As Harry steadied himself, he realized where he was, however. This gave him little comfort. He was standing over 700 feet above the cruel, hard ground on the very top of the Tower of Xanadu. What was worse, in his opinion, was the laughing spectre floating in front of him. Harry James Potter, you have yet to successfully cast the spell, Imaginatio Potestatum, in my presence. It has been over a week since Luna successfully cast the charm, yet you still fail. Harry grumbled. A week. I thought it was a month. I thought it was a year, a voice shouted from a distance. Harry looked over the edge of the tower to see Luna looking up from the ground. Hi, Luna. Luna waved, and though Harry couldn't see it, he was certain she was smiling. What are you doing up there? No clue, Harry yelled down before rounding on Nicola's flame. Why in Merlin's name am I up here? The spirit's eyes gleamed with mischief. You are too focused on your mind while letting your thoughts and feelings consume you. You work best when you rely on your instincts, which is how you were able to cast the spell when the Hogwarts astronomy tower exploded. Wait, you're not going to, Flamel laughed. Of course not. I am not going to blow up my tower. Harry breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, good. So why? You see, Harry, I can recreate the same scenario by doing this. Flamel finished by shoving Harry off the tower. Shit! Harry saw the ground rush towards him at an alarming rate. Harry searched his robes for his wand, only to remember he didn't have it on him. Great, just great, Harry thought to himself. I defeat Voldemort only to be killed by some demented spirit. I heard that. Harry, Luna cried out. Use the spell. Harry didn't think twice. He just reacted and yelled out the magic words. Imaginatio Potestatum. Harry blinked, and he simply stopped. He didn't feel himself stop or even start to stop. It just simply happened. Harry looked down and saw Luna grinning at him. He smiled back despite the alarming realization that he was only 20 feet from the ground. Congratulations, Harry. Finite, Flamel uttered with a wave of his transparent hands. Everything suddenly unfroze, and Harry continued his descent as if he had never stopped. Before he could react, Harry hit the ground, the soft ground that had him bouncing like he was on a trampoline. Luna and Flamel laughed as Harry glared at him. The effect of his glare was nullified by the fact that he was still bouncing off the earth like a grumpy child. You're both a bunch of wankers, Harry snapped, only ensuring more laughter. I haven't laughed this hard in a very long time, the spirit muttered. I must admit, I have truly come to enjoy your company. I will indeed miss you now your time has come to depart from my world. Luna stooped, giggling as she stared at Flamel. You mean we are going back? Nicholas nodded. Tonight, as the setting sun touches the ocean, you will meet me at the temple Afkabla for one final lesson. It will be your toughest lesson to date, but it will lead you closer to the answers that you seek. Luna nodded, while Harry asked. We have been on this island for who knows how long, and I have never seen any temple. The spirit seemed to vanish before their eyes as he whispered. That is because you did not look. Take the day to rest and bid farewell to Xanadu, for tomorrow you will return to a world that needs you more than ever. Luna embraced Harry as she hummed. I don't know whether to be happy or sad. These last few days have been the happiest of my life. Mine too, Luna, Harry sighed sadly. Mine too. Harry, Luna and Flamel sat cross-legged around an ancient bowl of stone which was full of water. It had taken them all day to find the temple. In fact, it was only when the sun neared the ocean that the temple was found. Harry had sworn that it appeared out of thin air. Surrounding them were 4 ancient pillars that led to nowhere. The temple had no walls and no ceiling. They could see the stars appearing in the sky as the sun was just about to touch the ocean's horizon. After a long silence, Nicholas spoke solemnly. "You are not late, nor are you early. What are you?" Luna looked at Harry expectantly and grinned. Harry looked between the two before he guessed. "On time." Flamel shook his head and looked to Luna. "What are you?" Luna paused in deep thought before answering. "You are not late, nor are you early. I am me." The old man grinned as he poured water into the stone bowl. "You are a true Ravenclaw indeed. I always loved riddles. I wrote a few famous ones myself. Now here is another. Who are you?" Luna answered with conviction. "I am Luna Lovegood." "Indeed, but who is Luna Lovegood?" the old man whispered as he dropped a pebble into the bowl. The ripples gently faded, revealing an image of Harry and Luna from their last day at Hogwarts. "You're a mystery, a puzzle, the riddle I hope I never solve," Harry's reflection whispered. The sun touched the ocean's horizon, and a solar flare suddenly flew into the bowl. The water in the bowl was replaced by a burning flame. The old man began to place herbs into the fire, changing its color to green. The spirit looked upon them with harsh purple eyes and spoke in a cold, unnatural voice. "Your riddles cannot be solved by books and papers. If you want to fulfill your quest for magic, you must first discover who you are. You must awaken the sleeping dogs, even the ones you would rather let lie. The truth is a beautiful and terrible thing. The fire is spreading, the players are moving. The secrets of magic lie in your minds and hearts. It is there you must go if you wish to fulfill your destiny." Harry and Luna leaned forward and breathed in the smoke. The world around them began to blur as time seemed to stand still. "I have taught you all I can. The rest lies in your hands. Depart now from Xanadu. You know what you must do. You shall be put to the test. You must finish your quest. Much has occurred in your absence. This could be our last chance. The wizarding world needs you, now more than ever. The stakes of your quest have never been higher. It is now we must part, but waste not your tears. You have blessed me with happiness I have not felt in years." Slowly, they felt themselves rise off the ground, heading towards the sky. Luna looked down and, to her shock, saw her body lying next to Harry's. She turned to see a transparent Harry staring at her. Luna quickly lifted her arm and saw right through her hand. Harry grabbed a hold of her hand, and she squeezed it as if her life depended on it. Suddenly, the two spirits began shooting through time and space as the surrounding stars blinded them with light. "May the power of magic guide you, Harry Potter. May the wonder of magic guide you, Luna Lovegood." Despite the darkness that suddenly engulfed them, they saw a thin ray of light in the distance. Harry and Luna swam through the black to reach their salvation from this devastating nothingness. Just as they were about to reach the light, they heard three familiar, twisted voices as they were shot into the light. "We are dreams. Watch your dreams come true," Luna giggled as her mother tickled her tiny toes. The 3-month-old girl was too adorable for Pandora to resist as she pretended to gnaw on the child's feet. Pandora loved her daughter with all her heart, and the little Luna loved her mother sevenfold. The sound of laughter was interrupted by a gasp as Luna's father entered the room. "Pandora, what have you done to her hair?" Xenophilius yelled in a panic. "You're not supposed to use magic on a child until she turns 5. You could damage her soul." "Damage her soul? That's rubbish, Zeno," Pandora grumbled. "Besides, I didn't do a damn thing to Luna's hair." "Then how do you explain the obvious changes to Luna's hair, Pandora?" "You reverse that now before she starts barking like a cat." "I did not use magic on my Luna, and if you think I'm that stupid—" Her Pandora drifted off as she stared at her daughter's hair. Xenophilius placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Pandora, I understand the desire to change Luna's hair. I didn't do this," Pandora interrupted. "I swear on my magic. Xenophilius was now very confused. "If you didn't change her hair color, then who did?" Pandora's eyes lit up. "She did." "She? Who? Her? Him?" Zeno stuttered as he was suffering a mental breakdown. "Luna did it," Pandora whispered. "Luna changed her hair. Luna used magic." Xenophilius slowly put his hand on Pandora's forehead. "Are you feeling okay, Dora? You do remember dear Luna is squib." Pandora finished bluntly. Yes, I know. How you think I could not know is beyond me. Yes, she is a squib. Merlin, I hate that word, Xenophilius grumbled. That means she can't use magic, even accidentally. Pandora sat in silence as she stared into Luna's brown eyes. Luna reached out her small hand and wrapped it around her mother's thumb. Pandora could feel a small tear run down her cheek. My baby me, lovely little Luna. Pandora was sitting inside a muggle cafe as she cast spells on the random patrons. She was also levitating a bottle of St. Mungo's formula in a position her daughter could drink it from. This would have caused quite a stir from the muggles if Pandora had not put up a number of powerful notice-me-not charms she had invented. Speaking of spells, Pandora invented Vis Magia. Pandora's eyes widened as she saw the glow in another muggle's chest. Extraordinary. Pandora looked at her research in amazement. She quickly started jotting down notes. It is becoming undeniable that muggles hold the potential for magic inside them. There is no difference in the quality or the amount of magic in any individual, be they wizard, muggle, or squib. Despite this, only the wizard or witch can use his or her magic. Through my research, I have discovered how to detect magic. Yet now I find myself asking a far more important question. What is magic? Are you sure this is safe? Pandora whispered. We won't even be staying here for long. Dumbledore is already setting up protections that will hide us from you-know-who. No, Lily, I don't know who, Pandora muttered sarcastically. Lily shook her head. Sorry, I'm so used to James having a heart attack every time I say Voldemort. I think it's a wizard thing. They clearly lack common sense. I mean, if not saying Valdi's name would stop me from getting killed, I would stop in a heartbeat. Pandora chuckled before turning serious. Listen, Lily, I'm scared for you. I don't know what protections Albus is putting up, and frankly, I don't want to. I do know if there is single way to get through them, Voldemort will. Lily nodded, looking to the corner of the dining room, where two young children tried to ignore the other's existence. Harry has to survive this. He just has to. Pandora nodded with understanding, listening to the words that were left unsaid. You're planning something, aren't you? Lily again nodded as she whispered. Dumbledore is always talking about the power of love, so I have been researching it. Pandora's eyes widened. What is it? What did you do? Tell me, please tell me. Lily laughed. Secrecy and safety out the window as soon as knowledge is involved. You really are a Ravenclaw, Dora. Don't call me Dora, Pandora hissed. But I heard that's what Zeno likes to call you. Lily giggled. Pandora blushed. How did you know that? Lily laughed as she choked out. I didn't, Slytherin, Pandora hissed. Lily smirked. So, are you and... Shut up, Pandora snapped. Aha, so you are, Lily squealed. I said shut up, Pandora glared. You're worse than James. Lily grabbed her heart in false pain. Ouch, the pain, the agony. Whatever, just tell me what you safely can about this magic, Pandora interrupted. Lily sighed. I'm not sure I really understand it. It goes against the laws of magic. Pandora smiled. You have no idea. Lily thought for a moment before speaking. Dumbledore says the power of love can do astounding things. Through an act of love, one could possibly defy the laws of magic. One could even save the ones they care about. Pandora looked in deep thought for a moment before she spoke. I think you and Dumbledore are looking in the right direction, but from the wrong angle. Love can do amazing things. Yes, even magical things. However, I believe love is not the cause but the motive. Lily raised an eyebrow as Pandora continued mysteriously. People who love something will do anything for the one they love. In their mind, they can even do the impossible. Love blinds people from reality, and that is the key. We are capable of more than we believe is possible. I have discovered that even muggles have occasionally achieved the impossible through magic. Magical feats that muggles to this day can only explain as acts of a greater power. You mean miracles? You're talking about miracles, Lily exclaimed. 10 points to Gryffindor, Pandora deadpanned, causing Lily to laugh. Yes, miracles, Lily. You've heard the tale of the mother saving her child by lifting a burning car. Love alone can't do that. Love is a state of mind that affects us and connects us. You want to lift a car, you must believe you can, and then actually lift the bloody thing. You must truly believe it, though, otherwise you will fail. I don't understand, Lily whispered. Neither do I, but I believe that belief has something to do with it. My theory is that the single law of magic is accepting limitations. I believe that nothing is impossible if you can think it, if you can dream it, if you can imagine it. Nothing is impossible. Pandora gasped. Pandora waved her wand and conjured a wooden cube onto the kitchen table. A fundamental law of magic is that you can't perform two spells at once with only one wand. To hell with the fundamental laws of magic. Lily, I want you to transfigure that cube into water, keep it in the same shape, and levitate it at the same time. Lily gaped. That's impossible. How am I supposed to do that? Pandora glared. It's not impossible. Weren't you listening? Let go of your doubts, and will it with you mind? Lily raised her wand and focused all her intent on the watering leaf for it to turn into shapeless water and splash all over the table. God damn it. You do it if you're so clever, Lily hissed as Pandora cackled. Pandora waved her hand, and the water returned to its original form as the wooden cube. If Lily was shocked at seeing wandless magic, then seeing Pandora levitate the suddenly cubed-shaped water left her flabbergasted. Lily stuttered. "Ho, how, I don't be believe it." Pandora grinned and winked. "Exactly. How can one do the impossible if they believe it to be so?" Lily shook her head violently. "But how is this possible? How did you figure it out?" Pandora smiled a golden smile. "I witnessed a miracle that defied the laws of magic." Pandora got up and skipped over to the two children, one not even a toddler. Lily followed closely behind as Pandora began speaking to the youngest. Lily assumed it was nonsense, but one never knew with Pandora. Pandora waved her hand and Lily's jaw dropped. "Your daughter's a metamorphmagus," Pandora laughed. "Nope, I charmed her. But she looks—" "How?" Lily asked Pandora, who grinned with mischief. "Lily, do you believe in miracles?" "No luck finding those blasted snorkacs today," Xenophilius announced with frustration as he entered his home. "I hope your day was better than mine, Dora. How are the Potters doing?" "Pandora, are you there?" Xenophilius walked down the slanted step to the basement where Pandora's lab, and most often Pandora herself, resided. Xenophilius was about to pound on the door when he noticed something. Silence. No explosions. Just silence. He slowly opened the door to see his Dora crying in the corner of the room. He reached out and tenderly rested a hand on her shoulders. "What's wrong, dear? Your visit couldn't have been this unfortunate." Pandora looked up with tearful eyes. "It was a wonderful visit, but it will be the last." Xenophilius pondered for a moment before a look of comprehension washed over his features. "A vision? Are you sure?" Pandora sobbed as Xenophilius wrapped his arms up in a heartfelt hug. "Is there any way we can save them before it's too late?" Pandora pulled back and looked into his eyes. I. Pandora turned away from him and closed her eyes. Xenophilius wasn't certain, but it sounded like she was talking to herself. He felt her tense before turning to face him with hardened eyes. "No, we won't." "What?" Xenophilius squawked. "You mean can't?" "Right." Pandora pushed past him and left her lab, followed by the echo of a door slamming viciously into its frame. It wasn't even a month later when Xenophilius aborted his current exhibition to comfort a grieving Pandora, only for him to find her grinning madly as she worked in her lab. "Aren't you upset?" Xenophilius muttered almost to himself. "I thought you would be grieving." "I grieved before the fact, Xenophilius. Today I celebrate to Lily's success. She has done it. She may not have gone through the looking glass, but she dipped her toes inside. I am on the edge of something huge. I just know it." "We can feel it. Success in dying," Xenophilius yelled. "What are you mad, women?" Pandora looked at her husband strangely for a moment before she began to giggle, which turned into full-on, side-splitting laughter. When she calmed down, she realized he was gaping at her with his jaw dropped. Pandora decided to be merciful. "You don't know, do you?" When Xenophilius shook his head, Pandora turned on her wizard wireless. I don't know how you found out about the Potter's death without hearing of this. Xenophilius could not believe what he heard on the wireless. Wizards throughout the United Kingdom are in celebration. He who must not be named has indeed been vanquished by none other than a 1-year-old boy, Harry James Potter, who survived the attack after the Dark Lord murdered the child's parents. Details are still under investigation. We will give you all the info we can as it comes in on Channel 30. Nargle's rule ha! Xenophilius stared at Pandora, who quickly gave him a peck on the lips. The poor man gasped. He's gone. Really gone. Really, 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 really gone. Pandora nodded as she gently pushed Xenophilius out of her lab to resume work. As she was shutting the door, she heard him cry out. How? How indeed? Pandora thought as she opened the door to answer Xenophilius. It's rather elementary, really. Pandora leaned forward and whispered in his ear. Mr. Lovegood, do you believe in miracles? Yes. Great, Pandora exclaimed as she slammed the door in his face. Little Luna, as you grew from an infant to toddler to child, Pandora continued her work with a determination that often frightened her poor husband. What in Merlin's name are you doing? Pandora looked up from the kitchen table and answered cheerfully. Making breakfast, of course. Xenophilius took in the scene in front of him and admitted that one could interpret the twisted tableau before him as simply making breakfast. Eggs were flying across the room, bowls of fire quickly hitting each egg to hard boil them. A sphere of water was bubbling over a stove as it boiled. Pancake batter was flipping itself across the room and hitting the wall, making a splattering mess. Chairs were spinning around in the air while Pandora seemed to be arguing with herself. No, you are doing it all wrong, you stupid. The pancakes should be cooked until they are cakes. Yes, that is why they are called pancakes. Yes, on a plate, not on the wall. Hey, don't you throw eggs at me. It was at this moment that Xenophilius Lovegood backed out of the room and gently closed the door. And they say I'm mad. Mom, are you okay? A soft voice whispered as Pandora sat by the fire with a cup of tea in hand. I'm fine, Luna. Mom just has a lot on her mind. Pandora replied as she felt Luna join her on the couch. Luna was only 5 years old, but she was already showing signs of great intelligence. Mother, can I ask you a question? Luna muttered shyly. Love, you can always ask me questions. Besides, you just did, Pandora replied emphatically. Little Luna smiled before she looked down and whispered quietly, Am I a squib? If Luna had looked up, she would have seen Pandora staring intently into the fire. Why do you ask this? Luna sighed. I've never done anything magical, even accidentally. Other than when the Weasleys babysit me, I only play with muggles. When wizards visit, which they rarely do, you seem to hide me away as if you are ashamed of me. No, Pandora yelled a little louder than she intended. At Luna's jump, Pandora calmed herself and wrapped her loving arms around Luna. No, we are not ashamed of you. We could never be ashamed of you. Your father and I love of you with all our hearts. We could not ask for a better daughter, squib or not. Pandora pulled back and looked her daughter in the eyes. I wish I could tell you otherwise, Luna, but you do have the condition that the ministry insensitively calls being a squib. I wish I could tell you that everything will still be okay despite this, but I'm afraid I can't. It's not easy being a squib. You will never be able to do magic, and in this world many will hate you for it. They will say you are different, and they will be correct. They will say other things too. They will put you down, say they are better than you, call you weak, call you inferior, and far worse things. I want you to listen to me, Luna. Do not listen to them. They are wrong. These are lies. Do not let them put you down for being who you are. You do not need magic to live a wonderful life. Billions of muggles all over the world live the same way. They have achieved things wizards have only dreamed of, and they did not need magic. Though you may be different, it is no curse. To be an individual like yourself is a great thing, Luna. However, the individual stands alone. It is not fun being alone, Luna, but in the darkest of days, remember this. One day you will meet another individual just like yourself, who will fill your world with light. You will find a prince who will walk through the hottest of flames to reach you and will slay the largest of dragons to protect you. How do you know? Luna uttered quietly. Because I found mine, Luna. Pandora giggled, as did Luna. Dad can't fight monsters, Mom. Luna giggled. You'd be surprised what one can do for those they love, Pandora whispered as she kissed Luna on the cheek. Now it's getting late. Why don't you go off to bed, and when you wake up, I'll make you a nice steaming cup of hot chocolate. Okay, love you, Mom, Luna said as she headed for the stairs. Pandora could tell Luna was still feeling down, so she whispered to her, Luna, can you keep a secret? Luna nodded eagerly as Pandora continued. Muggles believe that if you wish upon a star really hard, your wishes will come true. Maybe you should try that, and who knows, maybe your wishes will also come true. Luna nodded excitedly, warming Pandora's heart. Pandora made a motion to keep her mouth zipped shut, which Luna repeated with understanding before heading to bed. When Luna was gone, Pandora's smile vanished. She looked at the paper in front of her that she had hidden from her daughter. The bridge between two worlds shall be born on Lover's night. The spark to change the world shall be born. When love is right, the spark shall reach the moon the day. Before it ignites, it shall be fostered by the dead, who shall rise on the devil's night, only in death. Will these words of hope be broken only in life? Will dreams of love be awoken only through sacrifice? Shall the gift be given only through death? Shall life be forgiven? The bridge between two worlds shall be born on Lover's night. The spark to change the world shall be. She knew she would have to show it to her husband. She knew he wouldn't like it, but his feelings would be nothing compared to Pandora's. You're right, Pandora whispered to herself. Of course you are always right, you vile things. I'll do it. I'll give you magic, my child, even if it kills me. Dad, Luna asked her father as she watched her mother in the garden. What is Mom doing? Xenophilius looked out the window and felt his jaw hit the floor. Pandora seemed to be having a very heated argument with three animated scarecrows. The lifeless bodies of straw were wreaking havoc on their garden, uprooting the assorted vegetables and fighting with them. Pandora, Xenophilius called out, looking away from the scarecrows cheerfully. What is it? What are you doing? We're working silly, Pandora replied before cursing to herself with a loud whisper. No, we do not think they would work better if we lit them on fire. Xenophilius ran outside to regain her attention. Pandora. Exactly what in the blazes are you working on? Pandora ignored him as she hissed. We don't think this is the same as giving someone magic. Maybe animation isn't the way to go. No, fire won't work. Well, we can't just light her on fire now, can we? Why? Why do you think, Pandora? Xenophilius shouted, snapping Pandora from her strange conversation. What in Merlin's name are you doing? It's a secret. Pandora winked as her wand moved. To Zeno's horror, the scarecrows instantly burst into flames. They ran around like headless chickens, lighting the entire garden on fire. They sounded like they were screaming and cursing, but he couldn't be certain. Pandora stared, cursing herself while she fumbled with her wand, only to drop it into the flames. Bloody fairies. Hey, we resent that, she replied to herself. Xenophilius whipped out his wand and started spraying water everywhere. By the time the fire was put out, the entire garden had been burnt to ashes. Pandora, what in the name of bloody hell is wrong with you? Pandora picked up her heavily burnt wand, shrugged and put it behind her ear. Pandora, are you listening to me? The garden is gone. Do you know how long it took to place anti-humdinger wards around it? Not to mention you could have burned the bloody house to the ground. And look at Luna, you must have traumatized her with that stunt. Pandora looked over to see Luna peering through the window with a smile and a wave. Pandora waved back, causing Xenophilius to snap. Pandora. Are you listening to me? Not really, Pandora uttered with an interestingly uninterested tone. Xenophilius choked down a scream as he tore at his hair. Will you at least tell me what you are doing? If we did, you wouldn't like it, Pandora muttered as she ran into the house and into her lab. Xenophilius yelled out, I don't like it now, Pandora. We're getting close. We are simply overthinking things. We just know it is easier than we think it is. 8 years of hard work almost finished. This is huge, the things we could do with this power. It scares us, Pandora whispered as she looked towards the corner of her lab. If anyone else was present in the room, they would have noticed nothing unusual about that corner of the room. Yet the eccentric witch stared at it with fascination. Pandora pointed at the dark corner as she spoke reverently. You have magic because we say you do, therefore you have magic. If we could do the same with Luna, we could. I could. Way. Pandora jumped back from the corner. We can't. I can't. It's mad, but I am mad. We are insane, that is what they say. This is different. Shut up. The visions aren't real. Phileas will be fine. They will all be fine. It's all lies. Pandora walked away. It's not worth it. Luna will still find happiness as a squib. We know, it's bigger than that now. We could give magic to the world. At what cost? My sanity, my soul, the people I care about. How much blood must be shed? I can't hurt them, I won't hurt her. But she's so lonely. We see the sadness in her eyes. I see a future of much more. Every choice we make, the visions we've seen that curses my spirit and butchers my heart, I see too much. And yet it's never enough. Too many blanks, too much up to chance. Pandora broke down into sobs as she cried in grief. Help me, Merlin, help me. Then she heard a faint humming coming from above her. Pandora quietly left her lab and climbed the rickety stairs as if she were shadow, flowing through the house, appearing before her daughter's room. From behind the closed door, Luna's voice flowed through the cracks and into Pandora's sharpened ears. Starlight, star bright, the first star I see tonight. I wish I may. I wish I might have this wish I wish tonight. Luna paused in deep thought before continuing. I wish for a unicorn and for Dad to find a crumbled horned snorkack. I wish I had a friend. Lots of friends. I wish I wasn't different. I wish people liked me. I wish I wasn't alone anymore. Pandora slowly stepped away from the door and returned to her lab. With a whisper, she sobbed. You're right. You're always right, damn it. We've gone too far. We can't stop now, can we? I swear, Luna, we will make all your wishes come true. Pandora shook her head before composing herself. Okie dokie, let's make some magic. Pandora moved through the ministry halls with a haste not matched by her shorter companion. When he was dragged from his work by the witch, he almost followed protocol and arrested her. However, as she whispered to him her identity, he quickly followed her to his office. How the woman knew which office was his, he had no idea. Once the door was shut, the woman drank a potion and revealed her true appearance to the man before her. What in Merlin's name are you doing here, you mad woman? The man whispered harshly as he locked and silenced the room. The woman scoffed. This is not my first illegal visit to the Department of Mysteries, though we fear it may be the last. It better be your last. Do you want to die? The man hissed. No one wants to die, Phileas, but some things are inevitable, the witch whispered. I need your help. Phileas rubbed his eyes as he sighed. What can I do for you, Pandora? Pandora took out a rolled-up parchment and unraveled it on the half-goblin's desk. Phileas raised an eyebrow. What is that? Pandora grinned madly. My greatest invention, of course. Phileas raised his other eyebrow. And what do you suppose I should do with the blueprints? Build it, of course, Pandora shouted. SHHH, Phileas panicked. I thought the Daily Prophet was just spewing crap, but you really have lost your mind, Pandora laughed. You are probably right, Phileas, but so am I. This is the key, my masterpiece. If you build this, we can change the world. It will be able to. I know what you think it can do, but it can't. It defies the laws of magic, Phileas argued. Pandora leaned down to the goblin's ear and whispered, There are no laws of magic. Pandora sat on the floor crossed-legged as she spoke to Phileas. We have figured it out. We know how to help Luna. I can change the world, Phileas. I can feel it in my bones. Have the unspeakables it build by the end of the year. Say it's your idea. We believe you will need it soon. We? Who's we? What in Morgana's? Listen carefully, Phileas. I have discovered a spell that breaks all the rules of magic. I'm sure if used properly I can create magic through the Nargles, but I need the magic kept safe. That's where my invention comes in. Nargles, Nargles, Nargles. Yes, Nargles. Phileas groaned before squealing. What the fuck is a Nargle? Pandora giggled. a mix between pixies and fairies. They, after an incredibly long and descriptive explanation on what the fuck Nargles were, Phileas was on the verge of having his own mental breakdown. Pandora placed her finger on the half-goblin's nose as she whispered, "Don't you see, Phileas? I could give magic to my daughter, we could give magic to the world. Muggles will cease to be, as they will all be gifted with the blessing of magic. I can make the world a better place. How can I possibly refuse this calling, no matter the cost? We need you, Phileas. We can't do this alone." Phileas looked at the woman he loved like a daughter and shook her head. "You truly believe you can give Luna magic?" Pandora spoke solemnly. "I believe we can unite the world. Divided we are strong, but if the people of the world stood together as one, nothing would stop us from achieving utopia." Phileas sighed before he nodded. To Hades with it. Pandora, what would you have me do?" Pandora smiled insanely as she whispered, "Build it." If there was one thing that got Xenophilius' blood pumping, it was a mystery, and this was a most curious mystery indeed. His wife had spent many a night stuck in her lab, working herself mad. At first it had been just the odd incident of madness, but to Xenophilius' dismay, the strange happenings had increased tenfold. He didn't know how Luna got herself a unicorn, nor did he understand where it had disappeared to when he returned with ministry officials. The nearby pond, which had attracted a beautiful coven of fairies, had long since been abandoned, as they fled from an unseen force. What really disturbed him was how Pandora would often get this glazed look in her eyes as she stared at his daughter. The idea that Luna could be involved in this madness triggered Zeno into action. It was late into the night when a restless Zeno slowly opened the door to his wife's study. He knew she would be gone for a while. Doing what, he did not know, but to follow her would be an exercise of futility. The first thing he noticed was the darkness. He waved his hand across his face, yet still saw nothing. He quietly raised his wand and whispered, "Lumos." As a small faint light lit the tip of Xenophilius' wand, the room became visible. The lab was a mess, completely in disarray. There was no sense of order, books scattered and stained, potion vials lying in precarious positions, research notes covering the floor which was unusually soft, as if dirt and not stone lay beneath the mass of papers. Xenophilius carefully tiptoed, though the mess praying he wouldn't knock over a potion vial and cause an explosion. This place was dangerous, Xenophilius realized. The lab was dangerous. It could blow up at any moment, and his daughter lives above this. Xenophilius could almost feel himself be pulled to the other side of the room where a scrapbook sat. Unlike the rest of the room, there was an obvious attempt to keep everything away from the book. As Xenophilius touched the book, he heard a faint whisper in his ear. "Open it." Xenophilius nearly dropped his wand as he spun around in fright. He felt certain that despite what his eyes told him, he was not alone in this basement. "Hello? Who's there?" Silence was his answer. Uncertain, Xenophilius yelled out, "I demand that you reveal yourselves." He swore he heard the faintest sound, a cackle. Xenophilius shook his head as his eyes returned to the book. Flipping through the pages with his fingers, he jumped in surprise when the book stopped forcefully on one specific page. Feeling his blood run cold, he began to read. "I must lose in order to gain. I give myself to them, and they give themselves to me, to us. I'm not sure what we are, that is for the best. Wethi are the key. I found them in the darkness. I spoke, and they answered. In the darkest depths of my mind, I created life. Now I shall create magic too. I only wanted to give the power of magic to my daughter, but now we can give it to everything. We are our friend. We will help guide her in the blackest of times, long after she is gone. We will feed off her magic that our moon mother gives us. We are not yet ready. We have damaged too much to properly bless the moon child with magic. The fates have been sealed. The end will happen soon. We must give her the magic at any cost. Only she can finish what we start. We must." Xenophilius felt the book fly from his hand and into the darkness along with his wand. Another light appeared from the other side room, revealing the shadowed features of Pandora. "Hello, love." Hello, Pandora, Xenophilius squeaked as he backed into a desk, knocking a potion to the ground. Yet Xenophilius was certain it did not reach the floor. Pandora just smiled as she looked through her book. We ran into some trouble at Phileas, so we called it an early night. He was called in by the other unspeakables and seemed really frustrated with our project. I can tell the building has started, though. He can't talk about it, so Pandora smiled bashfully as she shook her head. I'm sorry, we just realized you have no clue what I'm talking about. Xenophilius gave a nervous chuckle as he looked around the darkened room. Nice book, he grimaced. Pandora looked at the book in her hand and grinned. Yes, it is. My life's work wrapped up into one little book. Not that I need it anymore. The room was lit brightly as the book burst into flames. Xenophilius screamed effeminately as he stumbled to the ground. Before he could blink, he felt her loving arms wrap around him. Xenophilius, are you okay? I didn't mean to startle you like that. Let's get you some sweet hot chocolate. Pandora helped him up, but Xenophilius squirmed out of her grasp. No, Pandora, we need to talk. We don't need to do anything, Pandora replied calmly. We simply do what we must, and sometimes we do what we shouldn't. No more riddles, Pandora. No more games. I want to know what you are doing and what you intend on doing to my daughter, Xenophilius yelled. Pandora tilted her head. I'm going to give magic to your daughter Xenophilius Lovegood, but I won't just give it to my Luna. I will give magic to all the muggles, and we shall give magic to all the squibs. Xenophilius stared into Pandora's glazed eyes. You what? Pandora, what you are suggesting is unnatural. Of course it's unnatural, Pandora replied with a smirk. It's magic. That's not what I meant. You are spitting in the face of magic, of logic and order. Xenophilius stammered. Pandora shook her head swiftly. You sound like my old boss, Xenophilius glared. I don't appreciate that, Pandora. But it's true. So what if I spit in the face of magic? What has magic ever done for me? What has magic ever done for poor Luna, doomed to be an outcast? The future I've seen is harsh. The Muggles reject her as weird, while the Magicals only refer to her as Luna the Squib. Do you think it will be any better with magic? They will dub her Luna the Freak, Xenophilius shouted. Pandora flinched. It's not so simple, Xenophilius. Oh, that's right, you want to give magic to all the Muggles too, Xenophilius muttered. I knew you were anti-establishment, but I never pegged you for a bloody anarchist. If you exposed magic to the Muggle world, the end result would be war. Muggles are getting smarter, Pandora insisted. Whether you like it or not, they will eventually discover us. Then what? If anything, revealing ourselves by giving them magic will prevent war. You will be stepping on the toes of a lot of powerful people, Xenophilius rebuffed. And those same people will be after Luna. You know what would happen if she got her hands on Luna? Pandora snorted. So that's what this is about. You're scared of her. And you're not, Xenophilius growled. Pandora looked away. That is a tough question for us to answer. We are not scared of much anymore. It is inevitable. Us? Who's us? Xenophilius screamed. Pandora grinned. The Nargles. They speak to me and guide me, just as they led you through this room, just as they guide my daughter as she watches us. Xenophilius started spinning around in a panic. Luna, go to bed now, Luna, Pandora laughed. Don't you see, Zeno? I can't explain it to you. This is far beyond your comprehension. Without the Nargles, it would be beyond my own as well. Yet together we can do things even the most powerful of wizards believe to be impossible. I don't give a bloody damn what you believe you are capable of, Pandora. I will not let you harm my daughter with your experiments, Pandora spoke with flames in her eyes. It won't be easy for her, and I don't know how it will end, but we must do this. For the sake of magic. Xenophilius was incensed. You are mad, Pandora nodded. That is why Luna must finish what I've started. My daughter is the only one I trust with this task. Don't you understand? Xenophilius started at Pandora with anger as he hissed under his breath. Xenophilius again stumbled, this time from the impact of Pandora's hand to his face. Pandora glowered at her husband as she whispered, Get out, Xenophilius nodded. I'm taking Luna with me. No, Pandora hissed. Xenophilius suddenly felt himself being pushed by an invisible force that cackled at him. No matter how hard he tried, he could not fight the force. It threw him out of the house, and the door slammed and locked. He stared at the door in horror, at a loss of how everything had gone so wrong. Inside the house, Pandora quickly began to put her plans into motion. She pulled out her quill and wrote herself instructions on a random piece of parchment. Use the potion to see the Nargles. You must take the magic from them and give it to Luna. Say the magic words. It is finished, Pandora. Your part in this tale is done. Pandora took a moment to cry. I'm sorry, Zeno. I'm sorry, Phileas. I'm sorry, everyone. After a few minutes of grief, Pandora grabbed her wand and pointed it at her head. She took a deep breath and whispered, Gaudium Rissum. The modified cheering charm did its job as Pandora burst into laughter, but it wasn't enough. She cast the charm again and again until the mad witch was rolling on the ground, cackling loudly. Yet she was still not done as she raised her wand to her head one more time. The spell she needed already existed, and she was no longer bound by limitations. She could break the laws of magic, so she could break through her own demented limitations. She had used it on herself many times over the last 9 years, and now she used it 4 more times. Obliviate, obliviate, obliviate. Obliviate. Pandora stumbled around the room in confusion before she found the parchment she had written on moments earlier. The potion. Nargles. Blah, blah, blah. Suddenly there was a knock at the door, and Pandora giggled with excitement. She quickly opened the door to see her 9-year-old daughter rubbing her eyes. Mom, it's 1:30 in the morning. I'm trying to sleep, Luna groaned. Luna, sweetie, shut the door behind you or the Nargles will get out, Pandora exclaimed. What are Nargles? The young Luna scoffed as the door to the lab was slammed shut. Do you remember this part, Luna? You seem to try so hard to forget you stared a blank stare as a stranger held a bright light by your lifeless eyes. As he moved the light from your eyes, you vaguely noticed just how white the room was. The man who was dressed in white himself seemed to be speaking to you, but it made no difference. The man left the room and began speaking to someone outside the door. You heard the voices but could not process them as they spoke. Will she be all right? A broken, shaky voice asked. Mr. Lovegood, despite what we first believed, she has not simply gone into shock. The second voice spoke with an air of professionalism. It seems that she has completely shut herself off from the outside world. It is almost as if she has taken a drought of living death, only her vitals are perfectly fine. Xenophilius remained silent as he looked through the window to his beloved daughter. Her eyes saw nothing. For the last 3 days, she simply sat on her bed and tried to stare a hole through the wall. The healer droned on as he pulled out a sheet of parchment. As you can see, Mr. Lovegood, her vitals are perfectly fine. Her brain energy is normal. Her magical core is exceedingly high. But that often is the case when one suffers a traumatic experience. She has moved around the room a couple times, but does not react to any of the other healers. Xenophilius was so deep in his grief, he had not registered the healer's words for a full minute. However, when he did, it was as if he had been struck by lightning. What did you just say? The healer wore a look of confusion, but spoke in the same droning tone. Miss Lovegood continues to eat regularly and has regular bowel movements. No, about her magical core. Xenophilius screamed, startling many of the other healers and patients. Luna's magical core is extremely high. The healer then whispered, as if knowing he was speaking words best kept away from wondering ears. To be perfectly honest, it is one of the most powerful we have ever encountered. But how? She's a sweet. Yes, she's a sweet girl, Xenophilius backtracked. Even he realized that shouting Luna's condition at the top of his lungs in a crowded hospital would be unwise. Perhaps we should continue this discussion in my office. The healer murmured discreetly. Xenophilius nodded numbly as he looked once more into the room where his daughter resided. You really did it, Dora. You actually did it. His voice was full of pain as he gasped. I hope it was worth it, Pandora. Luna was unaware of all of this as she stared into nothingness. You had no sense of time, of reality, of anything. This was her life now, and so it would be. Winter turned to spring, spring turned to summer, summer turned to autumn, and then it was winter once more. For 12 long months there was no change, and hope had long been forgotten. Only one father believed his daughter would ever return to him. It was exactly 1 year later when it happened. What happened, you ask? The answer is quite simple, Harry. We happened. Hello. The healer hardly heard the whisper, but hear it she did. She looked up to see you staring at the ceiling with an odd look in your eyes. I'm sorry, I can't seem to see you. I can hear you, though. What are your names? You were unaware of the healer bolting out of the room to alert her superior. You were too fixated on the voices in your head. Our voices, you spoke to us for the first time that day, and for the first time since Pandora. We answered. Names are of no matter to us, little girl. We are what Pandora dubbed Nargles. Welcome back to the land of the living. Welcome back to the world of magic. Welcome back to England, Harry and Luna. Welcome home, it's been too long. Wake up, 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 wake up. Luna, wake up. Luna, you have to go now. A voice whispered as she felt herself being shaken. Luna opened her eyes to see Harry kneeling over her. Are we back, Harry? I think so, though I'm not sure where we are. Harry grunted as he helped Luna to her feet. Be careful, by the way, the ground's not steady. That was an understatement. The ground was covered in large, jagged rocks. Harry could hardly stand, and Luna realized why. Harry, where are your glasses? Harry groaned. No clue, but if I don't find them soon. Akio, glasses. Luna hummed. The glasses flew from the rubble and into her hand. Oh, forgot about that. Harry muttered sheepishly as Luna placed the glasses on his face. That's better. Harry paused as he looked around him for the first time. Oh, Merlin. Harry, look, it's Ollivanders. Oh, and that's the leaky cauldron. We must be back in Diagon Alley. Where is everybody? Luna asked as her excitement turned to worry. Harry looked around the rubble and gestured to Luna. This might have something to do with it. Luna's eyes widened as she realized where she was. Oh, dear. Harry took Luna's hand into his own. We got to get out of here and find out what's happened since we left. Suddenly, the sound of cracks filled the air as over a dozen auras surrounded them. The auras sent stunners at them, but it was too late. Harry and Luna had both vanished away from Gringotts, or at least what little remained of it. What has become of magical England? Who is the Earth Mother? Who is the Earth Father? Who stole the vial of memories from Harry and Luna? Do you even remember that? What will happen next? What will happen last? Jaws will drop and twists will shock. Please review and say we rock. Please. Faster updates and shorter chapters as long as these bloody Nargles leave me alone. Chapter 31. Showdown at the Golden Swamp. The Golden Swamp certainly lived up to half of its name. This pub was filthy. Hermione understood the need to be discreet, but this was ridiculous. The ground was literally mud. Ron didn't seem to mind the place. In fact, he had already walked right up to the bartender. Excuse me, do you have any butterbeer? The muggle bartender raised an eyebrow. What in God's name is butterbeer? How about fire whiskey? Ron continued, oblivious to Hermione's groan. The bartender was completely lost. Fire whiskey? Are you some sort of fruit? 'Cause if you are, you're looking for the bar across the street. Do I look like a fruit? I'm a person, not an apple, Ron shot back angrily. Ron, will you be quiet? Hermione hissed, embarrassed. What about pumpkin juice? Ron asked. I got some pumpkin juice for you, the bartender grumbled as he walked away. See, Hermione, I knew they would have something, Ron said triumphantly. Ron, if that man brings you back a drink, it won't be pumpkin juice. Hermione sighed before pausing. Ron, look. Unnoticed by the dozen muggles in the damp bar was the infrequent flashing of an emerald green light. It flickered from the unnaturally dark corner of the bar. Ron and Hermione slowly approached the light, and as they stepped into the shadow, came face to face with two faceless beings. They wore pitch-black robes that covered their faces. They floated over the ground like dementors and spoke in a chilling voice that Death himself would fear. You came alone. Yes, Hermione whispered, praying that she hadn't made a mistake. The second voice spoke, and wolves started barking. Are you sure you weren't followed? As sure as we can be under the circumstances, Hermione replied with more confidence. The eerie figures stared silently at her. Hermione felt herself compelled to speak, all prior confidence gone. I was told you. Had information on the whereabouts of Harry Potter and Luna Lovegood. What is the one subject you failed to get an O for during your owls? The first voice asked abruptly, effectively catching Hermione off guard. Dada, Hermione answered, confused. The second voice spoke as Hermione's eyes widened with recognition. Weasley, what did your mother call you as she tucked you in at night? Ron's face turned as red as his hair as Hermione struggled to hold her giggles. The two spectres continued their interrogation. What did your mother call you, Ron? Ron had turned a shade of orange as he muttered. Ronnie Bunny. At this, Hermione burst out laughing as the spectres lowered their hoods, revealing the faces of one Potter and one Lovegood. Harry! Hermione screamed as she threw herself at Harry, either hugging him or attempting to kill him. I can't believe it's really you. It's been so long. Luna's face seemed to be wearing an uncharacteristic smirk as Harry gasped for air. Hermione released Harry before attacking Luna with the same intensity. Luna, where have you two been? Luna flailed her arms as she gave a panicky muffle. I don't like this. Please stop crushing me. Leave off them, Hermione. Ron snorted as he pulled Harry into a less life-threatening hug. Where the bloody hell have you been? Luna smiled serenely and sung. We have been to a world full of wonder beyond the stars, the moon, the yonder. Into dreams of love and paradise, awoken the sight of a divine sunrise. What the bloody hell are you on about? Ron exclaimed. Luna just smiled sweetly, leaving the four in a somewhat awkward silence. Luna and Harry sat at the hidden table behind them and were joined by the other, less eccentric couple. How did you ward the table so well? Hermione muttered as the bartender brought the four magicals their drinks without being any wiser of the magic around him. Mother was quite good with wards, Luna hummed with pride. She was an unspeakable, you know. She had to make sure no one heard the things that she spoke. Harry took over the conversation. Look, there isn't much time. I'll explain later where we've been, but when we returned, it was to the ruins of Gringotts. We were just able to dodge a dozen auras trying to stun us. We don't know how long we've been gone or what has happened since. Hermione's eyes widened while Ron spoke in a dramatic whisper. It's been 25 years. The world is run by moon men. Shut up, Ron, Hermione tried to say sternly, though the smile on her face hurt her attempt. It's been around 2 months. It's midway through January, the 15th, I believe. Harry sighed and handed Luna's 3 sickles. Right on the dot, I swore it has been at least a year. How did things go to Hades so fast? Luna looked into the nothing as she uttered. The world can change in the blink of an eye. The question is not how or when, but why. Okay, enough. Poems, Ron complained. Hermione looked around the bar to make sure they had not been followed before speaking. It started with Flitwick's funeral. It was written in the Goblin Treaty Clause 24 that in the event that a great goblin was killed, then all goblin-run enterprises would be closed the day of the funeral. That includes Gringotts. If the goblin was considered a true goblin, then the closing of goblin businesses would last 7 days. Harry let out a whistle. Didn't think the goblins had it in them. More in them than the Ministry, it seems. Hermione continued. You see, true goblins don't die often due to the fact that there are so few of them. However, when they do, the wizards bitch and moan, Ron scoffed. Thank you, Ron, Hermione scolded. Yes, complain, but the Ministry puts up with them because that is what you do in diplomacy. However, they weren't so lenient this time. Care to guess why? Luna's unfocused gaze fell across the muddy pub as she answered. The Ministry didn't consider Phileas Flitwick to be a true goblin. Hermione scowled. Bingo. In fact, that was just what she told them. She, Harry asked, leaning across the table. Jane Grimhilda. She stood before the Wisengamot and gave a very interesting speech. I was there, in disguise, of course. I switched places with a reporter who was staying at the Hog's Head. That pub seems to have an unending supply of reporters to stun and impersonate. So I saw it, how she wrapped the old pure-blood supremacist bastards under her thumb. Hermione hissed, her anger pouring through her eyes. The Wisengamot called for an emergency meeting following the disgrace of Kingsley. It didn't help his case that his office had been largely emptied and his undersecretary had been found dead. The first action they enacted was the stripping of all titles and positions Kingsley possessed and the order for his arrest. Then they discussed the call for a temporary minister. Enter Jane Grimhilda. She strutted down to the center of the circular room as if she owned it. She had bright red hair and the bluest eyes. Her skin was pale and her nose was long and crooked. Her teeth would be the envy of any dentist. Trust me, I know. Then she spoke in a melodic, sweet voice. I am not here to talk about Kingsley or nominate anyone for minister. I would instead like to tell you a little tale about my day. You see, after this meeting was announced and we were ordered to do our civic duty, I decided to check my accounts and make sure all was in order. So I went to Gringotts, and the funniest thing happened. A house elf, yes, a house elf, told me that Gringotts and all other goblin-run enterprises were closed for the next 7 days. Now what really gets me is the reason for this, the death of a true goblin, Phileas Flitwick. Jane's laugh echoed the silent room. No one else was laughing, though. In a sense, neither was Jane. Now pardon me for the vulgarity, but I was under the impression that Mr. Flitwick was a half-breed. The goblins have no right to close their businesses that we as honorable and gracious wizards allow them to have. I don't want to impose or make a scene, but I, for one, am sick of the Ministry of Magic allowing these creatures to spit on our compassion. They have no gratitude. They have no morality. Why are we signing agreements and doing business with animals? I would like a leader who will stand up to the goblins who hold our precious gold as hostage. I would like a leader who will take back our forests that the centaurs have taken from us. Someone who will take back our water from the merpeople, protect our sons from the clutches of Vila and our daughters from the evils of the incubus. I want our land back from the giants that endanger the statutes of secrecy every day. I want a minister who will not bend over backwards for the muggles, who we have allowed to rule the earth. I know one thing for sure, I would stand up for wizards if I was minister. I apologize for using up your time. Not surprisingly, we have a new minister. Guess what her name is? Hermione uttered sarcastically. That woman didn't waste time igniting the public into an uproar. The morning after, it was all over the prophet. Goblins shut down Gringotts for a non-goblin. Then it was, goblins shut down Gringotts for a half-breed. Then it was, goblins hold wizards' gold hostage over death of traitorous half-breed that helped start Hogwarts massacre. A group of wizards tried to break their way into Gringotts. You can guess how that ended. Those who survived lost their wand arm. If it wasn't for the tense situation between the ministry and the goblins, they would have lost their heads. Ragnar met with Minister Grimhilda, and they both decided to bury the hatchet. Gringotts opened 3 days early on the condition that for those 3 days they would be allowed to charge wizards an extra 10 galleons to enter the bank. Luna looked off into the pub. Then why is Gringotts nothing but rubble now? Ron whispered hoarsely. This is where it gets interesting. On the 7th day of goblin fasting, something big flew right into Gringotts, and the explosion killed 20 wizards and at least 200 goblins. What? Harry asked incredulously. You mean like the missile that supposedly hit the astronomy tower? No, all of Diagon Alley saw it. It was, well, Hermione said it looked like a missile. I saw the memories from some of our people. It looked an awful lot like a muggle missile. Hermione whispered nervously. Luna kept looking across the bar as her face scrunched up. Gringotts has the same anti-muggle wards as Hogwarts, and Diagon Alley for that matter. How are these objects getting through? Besides, we were at the astronomy tower and there was no missile. We don't know, but I will say this, the coincidence is unnerving, Hermione said morbidly. Many goblins were able to flee just before the missile hit, Some say Ragnar survived, others say he died. With the goblins, you really never can tell. One thing is for certain, though, the goblins are pissed. Ron pitched in, earning another scowl from Hermione. Ron just smiled smugly, causing Harry to hit him on the back of the head. What was that for? Harry shrugged and gestured for Hermione to continue, who obliged. The minister blamed the attack on another Muggle missile. Only this time she took it a step further. She accused the now former minister, Kingsley, of covering up the fact that the Muggles have discovered us and has declared war. Muggles seem to be quite unaware of this. It's what the ministry's good at. They keep us all in the dark. You don't know the truth anymore, and what they tell you could be lies or the truth. Plus, we don't know what they aren't telling us. They have continued Kingsley's campaign to protect Muggleborns from Muggles. It started innocently enough, but they started to paint them in an ugly light. Focusing on cases of magic discrimination, even if it's as simple as a Muggle freaking out when their infant starts flying around the room. Well, Ron came in. They have been talking about you, Harry, and your childhood in graphic detail. Harry closed his eyes as he took harsh, deep breaths. It took everything in him to keep control of his boiling emotions. Luna took his hand and squeezed it. What they did was wrong, but it shows that you are strong. Harry squeezed back. Thanks, Luna. She did it again, Ron mumbled. I don't understand. Luna asked, looking at Ron before looking back out across the pub. My rhymes are not planned. This is bigger than you, Harry. The minister and the totalitter have sparked more hatred towards Muggles than Voldemort ever could. They've enacted laws, separating all Muggleborns from Muggles. They are separating children from their parents and destroying perfectly happy marriages. The Muggles involved simply disappear. Sorry, totalitter, Harry asked. They are the guardians of order. They keep everyone in line, Hermione whispered darkly. With the chaos surrounding the Aura department, Grimhilda established these totalitter that seem to come from nowhere. They are our biggest threat. They keep the order in the magical world. They are like spies. If you say the wrong thing, they will find out. They have advanced magic like I've never seen before. They are supposed to protect us, but Muggles, Squibs, and Muggleborns have been disappearing, and everyone knows where they disappear too, but no one dares speak of it. There was a silence before Luna broke the silence. It's her, isn't it? When the others remained silent, she continued. It's the Earth Mother, the one from the prophecy. Hermione nodded. That's our theory, but we have yet to find any proof. Why do I get the feeling that by we, you aren't speaking of you and Ron? Harry pondered as the pub owner refilled his drink. Ron smiled. The LLR, that is the name of the group that opposes the ministry and their totalitter. I'm in the group, and Hermione is too. Hogwarts is still open, but people like Hermione aren't comfortable there. No Muggleborn is, Hermione whispered emotionally. Everything is falling back to the way things were, and we let it happen. We let that be. Which do this. They're hunting you down. Both of you. They're hunting all the LLR, but they really want you, Luna, and it's been made clear that they want you alive. Only they stopped calling you by name, Ron growled. They know your name holds power, so they stripped it from you. They just call you Squib. They want you too, Harry. They're making it out like they want to rescue you from the Squib that has bewitched you with her unnatural magic. How rude, Luna hummed. Are you sure you two weren't followed? Hermione exchanged a glance with Ron as they both looked around the pub. We're pretty sure. Oh, okay. Luna smiled as she took a drink of Harry's beer, immediately regretting it as she found the taste to be most foul. Did you think we were followed? Ron asked, as it seemed Luna had drifted off into her own world again. I'm not sure, but I believe that interesting person over there has been watching us since you both sat down. Luna whispered, looking off in the same direction she had been all night. Harry was the first to follow her gaze. The individual in question sat in the shadows under a dark cloak. The figure's face was hidden under a hood, but it was clearly facing towards them. What's more, they could see a wand in its holster. Shit, Ron muttered as he saw the cloaked being. Harry spoke loudly. I think I shall use the rest room. Luna, would you be a dear? Get us some more drinks. Luna nodded as Harry mouthed to Ron and Hermione. Stay put. Harry and Luna rose from their seats and went their separate ways, Harry quickly disappearing into the washroom while Luna wandered over to the bar. She heard it first, the sound of footsteps. It was hard to hear over the noises of the pub, but she heard them. She knew the figure was standing right behind her, so she spoke. Would you like me to buy you a drink? I warn you they taste most awful. True, but you don't drink these drinks for the taste. A grizzled man's voice answered, too close for comfort. I know who you are, little bird. I know who I am too, Luna responded. The only thing I don't know is who you are. She heard him chuckle before he responded, sounding even closer. Get me some whiskey, and you will have the knowledge you just asked for. Luna noticed he had a deep Irish accent that seemed to tug at her memory. What if I wish to know why you are here and what you want with me? Then I will tell you this as well, though I must warn you, you might not like the answer. He whispered in her ear. Whose side are you on? Luna asked, trying to get an answer she could work with. The only side that matters, my side. The stranger grinned. Luna wasn't sure how she could tell, but she was certain he was grinning. Luna made to face him, but felt two calloused hands grab her by the shoulders, holding her in place. That will be enough of that little girl. Now about that drink. The man was silenced as he felt a wand press into his neck and heard a voice whisper in his ear. Don't move. The stranger raised his hands in surrender as he spoke. Come now, you don't want to cause a scene in this pub any more than I do. You harm her, touch her, or even breath on her again, I will do a lot more than cause a scene, the voice threatened. I'm sure you will, the man said as he quickly reached down and grabbed an invisibility cloak, leaving it where it was as he whispered. Amazing, smoother than velvet. This must be the cloak of death. So you must be the famous Harry Potter. I've heard so much about you, of course, who hasn't? It truly is an honor to meet you at last. Now you must excuse me, young man. I was in the middle of speaking to your thing. Harry jabbed his wand so hard into the man's neck that it shed blood. One more word, the man chuckled darkly. Ta, I would be very careful, boy. One wrong move, and these muggles will be in for a fright. As he said this, he slowly started to pull on Harry's cloak. I mean, it would truly be the story of the year if you appeared out of thin air in the middle of a room full of muggles. Who the bloody hell are you? Harry growled. I already asked him. He wasn't very helpful, Luna responded. If you get me that drink, I will gladly tell you, the hooded man complained. This guy is worse than Seamus. Harry muttered under his before saying, fine. Luna, get him his damn drink, but you, sir, are coming with us. Yes, chosen one, slayer of giant snakes, dark lords and manners, the man uttered reverently to Harry. However, it is in your best interest to know that if I move from this spot, your friends die. Harry felt his blood run cold. How many? The man chuckled. How many friends will die, or how many totalitter are in this pub as we speak? I'll answer both, 2 and none. I don't work for the totalitter, as I was fired before I could get a promotion. I was given a different job, one I am more than happy to accomplish. You and your freak here are coming with me to the ministry, and you are going to come quietly. Over my dead body. Harry hissed as he moved his hand out from under the cloak and signaled Ron and Hermione, who were still in their seats acting like nothing was wrong. I told you what I would do with you if you touched her, the man sighed. Fine, we shall do it your way. The muggles gasped as Harry appeared out of thin air. Those gasps turned to screams as the curses started flying. 8 hooded figures attacked Hermione and Ron, who overturned their table and started firing their own curses from behind it. The hooded stranger tried to throw the invisibility cloak over Luna, but she anticipated his attack and cried, Akio cloak. The hooded man let the cloak fly out of his hand as he focused on Harry. The two quickly began firing curses at close range. The spells they deflected scattered throughout the pub, starting fires and blowing holes into various objects. By now, Luna had managed to stun most of the muggles while under Harry's cloak, though a couple of them managed to flee the pub. Harry finally hit the hooded man with a powerful disarming spell, sending his foe flying across the room. With the stranger taken out of the fight, Harry joined Luna, Ron, and Hermione in disposing with the rest of the attackers. The stranger rose onto shaky legs to the sight of 3 wands aimed at his heart and neck. One of those wands belonged to Harry, who snarled, "Lower your hood." The figure looked between Ron and Hermione, who also had their wands aimed at him. He noticed Luna was just standing there smiling, a surprisingly kind smile despite the circumstances. He couldn't help but chuckle. "I just realized something. I'm in serious shit." Harry jabbed his wand into the man's neck, who yelled, Okay, just stop poking me with that." The man lowered his hood, revealing a face that had certainly seen better days. Yet aside from the massive amount of scars that covered his pale face, the man was very handsome looking. His hair was long and lush, but was clearly turning grey. He was grinning with a devil-may-care attitude, revealing his 3 missing teeth. Yet the grin did not reach his dull and lifeless eyes, haunting in a way that only comes from having one's heart ripped out. "Who are you?" Luna whispered. "You look familiar. We've never met, but I understand why you would think otherwise," the man answered without answering. "I don't care what you do to me. There is only one thing you can do that hasn't already been done to me, and that would be a blessing. So go ahead and kill me. The only thing that will hurt me in death is that I failed him." "Failed who?" Luna asked, looking curious. The man was about to reply, then stopped and grinned. Hermione's eyes widened as she heard the sound of cracking and popping from outside the pub. "They're here," Hermione whispered. Her face was pale. The stranger reached into his pocket, and before Harry could curse him, the scarred man vanished. Ron cursed. He must have had a portkey. "Who cares about him?" Hermione yelled. "We've got to apparate out of here before." Unfortunately, before had already arrived, as the door was smashed down. The 4 magicals dropped to their knees and crawled behind an overturned table as curses started flying into the pub. Harry groaned as he joined the other 3 in firing curses at the totalitor, keeping them at bay. "Damn it, what do we do now? Can't we still apparate?" Ron asked. "You try apparating on your hands and knees, you'll end up leaving behind your head. Not to mention standing up will get us killed even faster," Hermione replied, gritting her teeth. "You 3 hold them off. I've got to make us a portkey." "We don't have time, Hermione," Luna spoke as she grabbed Harry's hand. "It takes at least 15 minutes to create a portkey, and that's just for short distances." "That's normally true, but not the way I do it," Hermione replied as she grabbed a broken mug. "Just hold them off for me. I need to focus." Luna looked at the cloak still in her hand and had an idea that had her questioning her sanity. Maybe she did deserve her loony moniker. Luna quickly threw the cloak over herself and rose to her feet. She quickly ducked 3 viscous curses and ran across the room before removing her cloak. Then Luna started to yell, "Hey, I'm over here, you Aquavirius maggots." "Luna!" Harry tried to stand, but was dragged back down by Ron as soon as Luna yelled. All the curses aimed at the golden trio were suddenly flying at her. Luna threw the cloak back on as the curses hit the shield she had cast in front of her. The shield didn't hold for long as the spells smashed it to pieces, but it mattered not. Luna had already appeared in a different corner of the room and started shrieking, "You all look like a gulping Plimpy's snout." Harry and Ron continued to fire curses at the entrance of the golden swamp. Then Harry saw it. "Luna, look out!" Luna ducked just in time as the totalitor started firing curses from the kitchens. Ron cursed loudly. "There must have been another way in." "Of course there is," Hermione began as a reducto smashed into the pub, sending tables and stools flying. One of them cracked Hermione on the head, effectively knocking her out cold. "Hermione!" Ron yelled as he dropped his wand and started checking on Hermione. "She's just been knocked out. Damn it. How are we getting out now? They are going to kill her. They are going to kill us." Luna removed the cloak as she crawled beside Harry. I tried to do more, but—" "I know," Harry whispered as he clung to Luna tightly. "I love you, Harry." "I, bloody hell," Ron cried with relief. Harry and Luna looked up as over a dozen wizards and witches appeared in the middle of the room and began firing curses at the totalitter. Ron gave a whoop. "The caviar has arrived." "It's cavalry, Ron," Hermione moaned as she slowly regained consciousness. "You weren't supposed to tell anyone where we were." "Yes, and I told you that was a stupid idea. Admit it, I was right and you were wrong." Ron embraced her as he spoke. Hermione just laughed, shaking her bruised head. "I don't think they can hold off the totalitter for long," Luna uttered, and she wasn't lying. Their rescuers were quickly being forced back by the sheer number of their foe. "It will do. Let's get the hell out of here," Harry shouted as the four magicals linked hands. With a snap, Hermione apparated them across the country until they landed in a strange white room that looked like a healer's office. Luna looked around, confused. "Where are we?" "The location of the LLR," Hermione answered as she collapsed into one of the beds. "I feel like I cracked my skull." Ron filled them in. "It's not much, just an abandoned Muggle hospital we fixed up a bit. Hermione helped set up some serious wards." "That's interesting," Luna interrupted wearily. "Aye, always." Luna's eyes closed as she fell into Harry's waiting arms. Harry helped her into one of the healer beds as Hermione started to panic. "Luna," Hermione screamed. "Don't worry, I'll get one of our healers." "Luna's fine, Hermione. She's just exhausted," Harry said calmly, but the melancholy was radiating off him. "Then what's wrong?" Ron asked, already knowing the answer. Harry sighed as he brushed his hand through her blonde hair. "Before we left, Luna could have handled those totalitter single-handed. Now she can hardly apparate without becoming magically drained. She wasn't even strong enough to cast those wards back there. She had to show me how." Harry looked at his two friends and spoke solemnly. "We are running out of time. At the rate it's going, she will lose all her magic before the end of the month." Chapter 32. Squibs, Muggles, Rebels, and Other Worthless Things. I have found myself a Betzer reader. Hesh is not in any way, shape, or form related to me. Maybe. So if you have any complaints on grammar, blame him her. Ha! Now to the story. Xenophilius leaned over the table as the tape recorder was turned on. Normally, he would be fascinated in discovering how the machine worked, but he was too focused on the contents of this recording. The quality was low and full of feedback, but in the wizarding world, sound quality was a small price to pay for secrecy. Click. Feedback. "Luna Lovegood, can you hear me?" Repeat, "Luna Lovegood, can you hear me?" Yes, we can hear you. Can you see me?" Yes, we can see you. Please describe to me what you think I look like." You look like a human." "You are 12 inches taller than our father and have green hair. You are a fixer. Can you fix us?" "That's what we are trying to do, Miss Lovegood. Why do you refer to yourself as we?" "We are we." "Are you Luna Lovegood?" "Who are you if you are not Luna?" "We are Luna just as we were Pandora." You understand that your mother is dead." "Yes, we know. We would not be as is if she lived. The Moon Mother gave her power, but we cannot yet use it. Sanity holds her back, yet insanity leaves her damaged, as was Pandora. We failed her before, but not this time, Mr. Locker." "Before you go, tell her father. Pandora is sorry for what had to be done, and for what will happen. You cannot help her. Only we can. No one must know of what we were and are. She was a late bloomer, nothing more." "I love you, Dad." Faint laughter. Click. Xenophilius breathed out wobbly as he looked at the healer beside him. Or they are right. No one can ever know she was a squib. If they did, she would be in grave danger. Xenophilius let out a hoarse whisper. "Merlin is just like Pandora. I thought she had gone mad, but this can't be a coincidence, can it?" The healer let out a humorless chuckle. "Have you ever heard of a squib gaining magic?" Whatever Pandora, may she rest in peace, was doing involved magic beyond our understanding. Xenophilius then asked the question he dreaded. "Can she be cured?" "Define cured," the healer answered calmly. "Physically, she's fine. A little weak from being stuck in a room for over a year, but that's natural. Mentally, she is in bad shape, but without interference, she improves every day." You told me that Pandora referred to these voices as Nargles. It seems that, real or not, they are helping Luna cope from what must have been a traumatic and devastating experience for her. I believe that she shall be able to function quite well in the wizarding world. Now that she is a witch, she should be able to go to Hogwarts. There is other concerns. Her emotions seem to be damaged. Only time will tell what other effects this magic will have on her psyche. However, I must be honest, Xenophilius. It is unlikely Luna will ever be the same again. Xenophilius felt his heart breaking as he cursed the women he loved and grieved over. Why did she do this to her child? How could she do this to him? Will she at least be happy? I'm not sure. Happiness can be difficult to attain in the simplest of circumstances. Hopefully we can help her pursue it. It won't be easy, Mr. Lovegood. Click. Xenophilius stared from the cassette to the healer. Did you turn it on? The healer seemed insulted. Of course not. There is nothing else on the tea. Hello. We must now depart, but we shall see her again. Mom. Mom. Xenophilius, and the healer suddenly felt their ears start to ring as a heart-wrenching shriek escaped the player's tiny speaker before it erupted in flames. The two wizards bolted from the office and ran to the young witch's room. The healer burst into the room, followed by three other healers, as another two held back Xenophilius, who was answering his daughter's cries. Xenophilius gritted his teeth and broke through, free from the healers. He entered the room to see Luna's now silenced shrieks, as she seemed to have a seizure. What's happening to my baby girl? Xenophilius yelled at the healers. She's going into shock. She's having a panic attack, a reaction to witnessing Pandora's death only delayed by 14 months. What are you doing then? Xenophilius asked, his anger growing. Sedating her. Like hell you are. She's been sedated long enough. I want my daughter back. Xenophilius shouted as he unsilenced Luna and took her into his arms. Xenophilius cried as he held her to him. It's okay, honey pie. Daddy's here. Daddy's not leaving you. Luna seemed to relax against him before she hugged her father for the first time in years. She never cried. She just hugged him like he was her anchor to the world. In many ways he was. I'm taking my daughter home, Xenophilius said suddenly. If you wish to see her, then just send an owl, but my daughter will not stay here for another moment. Now come on, Luna. It's time to wake up. Luna's eyes opened as she took in the images around her. She was in an empty room that reminded her of St. Mungo's, yet there was something terribly wrong with this place. There were pictures of skeletons on the walls, and the objects scattered around the room looked as if they were designed to cut through bone. Luna slowly remembered where she was but failed to comprehend how these gruesome objects that were used to cut people open could possibly help anyone. Luna had to admit how some wizards thought muggles could be mad. This seemed crazy even for her. Her musings were cut short by the sound of high, wheezy voices. About time you woke up. You've been asleep for 3 sunrises. They said you'd sleep longer, but I say no, no, no. Luna sat up, and her eyes focused on the strangest man she had ever seen. He was as thin as a twig and had a strange green tone to his skin. His head was small and misshapen, yet his nose and ears were large. He froze as his equally large yellow eyes met Luna's and whispered with a voice one would expect from a house elf. So it's true, it's really you. Luna smiled as she titled her head at the creature. At least she assumed he was a creature. Hello, who are you? The strange man spoke quietly as his head seemed to tremble. I was called Evander once. It is really you, I mean, you are you, aren't you? If the you you're looking for is Luna Lovegood, then I am that you. Are you still called Evander? Luna asked with genuine interest. The man looked confused. I wouldn't know, though. My parents called me something once, but they forgot what it was. The man shook Luna's hand, jerking it in odd movements before he choked out. I am like you were before you are now. Others say I am a squib. Will never be a wizard, not before you came to us. Now we have hope, but it is not magic that I want. I want it too. The strange man, who was once called Evander, seemed unable to think of what he meant to say. So he took his long, skinny fingers and pointed at his head with all 7 of them. Luna looked at him for a moment before she asked, "What's wrong with your head?" "Just head knot," Evander squealed calmly. "I green, eyes ouch, confused often, don't speak right, don't know how, don't know why, just want to be. I don't remember what." "Evander." Luna and Evander jumped at the voice and saw Harry and Hermione had entered the room. It was the latter who had spoken. "I'm happy you got to meet Luna, but you better head on back to the others. We don't want you to forget your potions." When Evander did not respond and Harry elaborated, "The ugly drinks," Evander grimaced. "I don't want to drink the ugly drinks. Hurts my tongue, hurts my head, hurts my ticker." Hermione suddenly became stern and spoke, as if she was disciplining a toddler and not a grown man. "You will drink your potion, or do you want to blow up another room?" Evander seemed to turn a shade of yellow, and Luna was certain the poor man was blushing. "I didn't mean to. It was accident." "I know it was. That is why you have to drink your potions. So you don't have another accident, remember," Hermione said sympathetically. Evander nodded. "I've been called Evander twice now, but I am not Evander. I am." Hermione looked sadly as the man stopped speaking and walked out of the room. Luna looked at Harry and Hermione bewildered. "Who is that poor man, and what is wrong with him?" Hermione sighed. "You aren't the only person to try and give people magic. Purebloods from dark families have been trying to cure squibs for years. It always ends the same, though. That man was forced to drink potions that would make your skin crawl. They would then put you through a blood ritual that has been illegal for the last 1,000 years. He is one of the lucky ones." "Lucky," Luna whispered, as she remembered how rattled the man seemed to be. "Very, he was the first to ever survive the ritual," Hermione said sadly. "It involves switching your blood with the blood of a magical creature. That's why he takes potions. He has some magic but no control over it. It just explodes out of him and causes destruction. The potions drain your magical core. Since he doesn't have one, it simply drains the magic from his body." Harry spoke slowly. "There are others. From what Hermione has told me, the LLR is mainly about protecting muggles and squibs from the totalitter. Most of the ones here are in good condition, but there is a few like, well, George called him Evander." "How many are here?" Luna asked as she rose to her feet. 28 squibs and 35 muggles," Hermione stated. Luna looked at Harry, who nodded as if they were having a conversation with their eyes. Hermione pondered once more where the 2 magicals had gone to after the Hogwarts riot. "I would like to see them, Hermione," Luna said suddenly. "I have to see them." Hermione had been expecting this, but there was something else in Luna's expression that caused her to pause. Luna continued, "I would have been like them if I was born into a different family. I need to see them and give them hope. The way I was given hope." Hermione nodded with a smile. "I think that's a great idea, Luna, but we have to see the LLR first." Luna looked to Harry questioningly, who answered, "Hermione says the leader of the LLR would like introduce the rebels to their namesake." Luna looked even more confused. It was not a feeling she liked. "Namesake, leader? Who is in charge the LLR?" Hermione smiled, her eyes gleaming. "Why, I am, of course." "What kept you?" Ron yelled as soon as the others were in sight. "Evander," was Hermione's reply as she looked down the hallway. Harry had fallen behind somewhat as he stayed by Luna's side, while Luna simply looked around in wonder. Luna kept stopping to look into the other rooms of the hospital, while taking in the whiteness of the halls only Muggle lights could give. They were exceptionally bright even for Harry, who was certain that the LLR was powering them with magic. Luna's eyes met Harry's, and she could not help but smile like the child she once was, not so long ago. "It's amazing," Luna whispered. "The idea of surgery seems barbaric, yet it actually works, and the way machines function and move as if they were alive. The light, brighter than 1,000 candles, only the most powerful spells could match it. It's just like magic, but it's not. It's just an abandoned hospital." Harry grinned at Luna's awe of the mundane. Luna shook her head. I've read a lot on muggles, but I've never actually been to a muggle residence or seen firsthand what they have done and can do. It's incredible. Hurry up, the LLR is waiting, Ron yelled down the hall impatiently. Harry and Luna walked at a slightly faster pace, as Ron and Hermione were approaching a large metal door that did not match the rest of the hospital. Luna looked above the metal doors and at the rusted sign which hanged from the roof. It had once read cafeteria, but now had the letters LLR written over it. Luna spoke without taking her eyes off the dented sign. How many people are in there? About 35 members, along with all 30 muggles and 15 of the squibs. The other squibs are more like Evander and are unable to attend. You can see them later. That's good, Harry responded with a smile. How many members are in the LLR? About 35. Hermione mumbled, looking down, refusing to meet Harry's eyes. Harry gaped at her and then cursed. Shit, we're rebelling against the entire bloody Ministry of Magic, and we have a mere 35. Actually, it's 23, replied a stern-looking wizard as he opened the metal door and slipped into the hall. When they looked at him questionably, he spoke sadly. Warren was arrested by the Totalitter, and we lost Eric at the Golden Swamp. Actually, we found him, Ron piped in. The young wizard looked shocked. You did? Where? Somewhere. Makes sense he would be there. Luna hummed with approval. The sound of something collapsing had the four of them rushing in. The cafeteria was very large for an abandoned Muggle hospital. Harry was again certain that magic was involved. The very same magic was wreaking havoc to the room as two wizards dueled on one of the tables, as others made bets on the outcome. I meant to warn you, the stern wizard said with a sigh. I'm afraid your conversation had me sidetracked. It's okay, Frictor. I'll handle this, Hermione said as she raised her wand and vanished the table the dueling wizards stood upon. They collapsed to the floor, landing on their bottoms, resulting in much laughter from the wizards around them. Then they noticed Hermione and fell silent. Harry recognized some of the members as his former students from just about all the Muggleborns. Seeing them brought a grin to Harry's face as he felt a familiar feeling stir within him. He shattered the silence as he yelled, Sodders, stand straight. His former students immediately stood in formation, and the other members simply did the same, confused but more than willing to avoid further embarrassment. They failed at this, however, when one of the younger members revealed in a rather messy fashion that he had been drinking. Harry looked dismissive at the young wizards. This is the LLR. Not much of an army, is it? Hermione sighed. We aren't an army. We are not even Sodders. Our goal is to protect the Muggles and Squibs, the Totalitter target. We also sabotage the Totalitter at times, and a couple of us try to find out what is going on in the Ministry. But truth be told, as it is, there is very little we can do. Harry looked at Hermione warily. Then how do you expect to stop the Totalitter? Isn't it obvious? Luna said calmly as her eyes met Harry and knew they had both reached the same conclusion. We assumed you might be able to help. One of the LLR members spoke. Harry recognized him to be Seamus. I mean, in a way, it is your group. Yours as well, Luna. The LLR stands for the Luna Lovegood Rebellion. It is. Luna muttered, her face somewhat pale. This isn't Harry stated sharply. This isn't learning to fight. This isn't protecting your school, your home. This is war. You may call it otherwise, but when you fight the Ministry of Magic, that is what it is. When you fight a war, people die. You might not be willing to say you are at war, but that will only make it easier for them to get you. How many of you were there when you formed the LLR? The silent, sad looks said enough to Harry, as no one had uttered a word of reply. How many were captured, and how many have died? Harry could see the answers in their eyes. Harry noticed that only half the Muggleborns from his class were here. Harry shook his head. He took the feelings that had stirred within him and crushed them in his heart. I am not your leader. I can't have been. I've been gone these past few months. To me it was longer, and that isn't an expression. I can't lead you, even if I wanted to. Hell, I don't want to, but I feel like I have to. I just can't. Harry's voice strained as he looked away. Harry's eyes seemed to struggle as his forehead wrinkled in frustration. Harry softly spoke the words that repeated in his mind like a mantra. This isn't my war. I have my own adventure to go on. I have to help Luna with her work. If we succeed, things will be very different. If you want my help, then help me help her. People have always looked at me said I was destined for great things, but I never see what they see. When I look at Luna, I know she is more than I'll ever be. She is our hope now. Luna looked at Harry with many emotions in her eyes. She couldn't believe Harry felt that way about her. She then realized something that shook her to the core. He looks up to me. This was not what she said, however. It was another thought in her mind that was voiced. It's everyone's problem, Harry. Hate and evil will always be everyone's problem. Maybe they can help us, Harry. Maybe they can find the information we need. Besides, it's my thought they are in power. I feel like the Hogwarts riot has accelerated things. I can't just do nothing while people get hurt. Hermione spoke up. Well, maybe this is a discussion for another time. Ronald, what do you have to report? Nothing. Hermione glared at Ron, who quickly explained. The Totalilter have been upping security. No one here has gotten any information. Hermione sighed, looking far older than she should have. Hermione had always been mature for her age, but in that moment she looked closer to 40 than 19. Harry felt she was far too young to have been through all she had, only to realize that he was a year younger than her himself. It's a sad tale when our battles are fought by children, Luna whispered. Hermione nodded. Too true, but we're not children, not anymore. We might as well be, Luna said softly. It does make sense that we are the ones fighting. It is our future. There is some interesting news, actually. The stern-looking member they called Frichter said as he looked at an old damaged book in his hands. Whatever was written in its crumbled pages must have been important as he looked up gravely. Word from Lord Ned Greengrass. The minister has just summoned the Wisengamot. She has also invited the press and all the noble families. Ron looked darkly. Sounds like a trap to me. Hermione shook her head. I don't think so, but this can't be good. Hermione looked at the LLR disapprovingly. Well, this meeting could not have gone worse. You're dismissed. The LLR quickly left as Harry sighed. A bunch of scared young men, mostly under the age of 20, half of them drunk. So much for the lunar Lovegood revolution. Rebellion. Hermione quickly corrected on instinct before speaking quickly. Ron, take them to their rooms and make sure they are protected. I'm going under cover. Ron and Hermione shared a glance before Ron nodded. Be careful, Hermione. I will, Hermione whispered before she turned to leave. We are coming with you, Luna stated calmly as she began to follow Hermione, dragging Harry with her. You are? Hermione asked, startled. We are, Harry asked in surprise at the same time. How? I know Hermione's got Polyjuice potion, but we can't expect to stun and impersonate 3 reporters without being noticed. Polyjuice won't be necessary. My magic, though weakened, will allow me to disguise myself, Harry, and you do have that cloak of yours. Luna hummed, looking at Hermione. I don't think this is a good idea, she replied nervously. Well, if they're going then I'm going too, Ron announced purposely. No, Hermione yelled at Ron before adding softly, if things go bad, you need to keep things running. Ron looked at Hermione and shook his head. You can't keep taking all the risks, Hermione. Hell, that's supposed to be my job. Like hell it is, Hermione grumbled before kissing Ron. Harry awkwardly averted his eyes while Luna looked off for some reason or another. Stay out of trouble, please, Ron said, though his eyes pleaded with her. Hermione nodded as she swallowed her emotions down and looked at the other two. Fine, you two can come, but listen. No matter what happens, no matter what or who you see, don't reveal yourselves. I really hate doing this, Hermione muttered as she looked at the reporter she had stunned. Plucking a hair from his head and dropped it into the vial of Polyjuice potion she had been keeping in her robes. She turned to the other 2 people in the room. One was a brunette with tanned skin and small brown eyes. The other was holding his invisibility cloak. The good news is that I can take the memories of my reporting and implant them into Mr. Nostrick without him being any wiser. The bad news is that it's more disturbing than that rumor about Aberath, Harry muttered as he looked at the poor man. Nastrick had been preparing to head to the summoning room to do his job when he had heard a knock on the door. One stupefy later, and he was lying unconscious on the floor. Can you two give me a minute to transform and change? Hermione blushed as she ran into the washroom in Mr. Nastrick's room with Mr. Nastrick's unconscious, floating body. Luna sat down on the bed with a vacant expression on her face. At first, Harry thought it was simply a result of her transformed face, but he quickly realized it was something else. Luna, what's wrong? Harry asked as he sat beside her. Luna was silent for a bit before she whispered, Are we doing the right thing? I know we are, Luna, Harry insisted. What's going on isn't your fault. It's the same anti-Muggle bigotry that's been haunting the wizarding world for centuries. They call themselves the Lunar Lovegood Rebellion. They are fighting for me. They aren't fighters. While I try to discover the secrets of magic, the world around me is falling apart. Everyone expects great things from me, but it's not me, it's... Luna lost her voice, and Harry whispered, It's your mother, isn't it? Luna seemed to flinch at Harry's words as she whispered, so quietly he could barely hear her words. You saw what I saw, Harry, in the visions, what she was doing, how she cursed herself, her memory. She really was mad, by her own doing. Harry closed his eyes as he brushed his hand through Luna's hair. Luna had been rather off the first couple nights since they returned to England. Yet even after she started acting her usual abnormal self, Luna never spoke of her mother, something that made Harry very concerned. Luna. No, don't you Luna me. She obliviated herself repeatedly. Who knows how long she destroyed her brilliant mind, and for what? Her work, Luna yelled. Luna paused and took a deep breath. For 8 years, I have been defending my mother when they said she was mad. Many would consider you to be mad, Harry whispered softly as he held her. I don't care either way. You are brilliant, Luna, and so was your mother. I don't know why she did the things she did, but I know she did it for you. Luna took in a deep breath. I know, but there is something else. I've been thinking of what Mr. Flamel had said to me. I'm missing something important. I just know it. At that moment, Mr. Nastrick strolled out of the washroom and spoke to Harry and Luna. All right, the meeting should be starting soon, so we better get a moving. Oh, and Harry, I know this will be tricky, but while under the invisibility cloak, try not to walk into anyone. It was impossible not to walk into anyone, as the ministry was crowded with wizards and witches packed into the auditorium of the Ministry of Magic. Luckily, the crowds of people made it impossible for anyone to notice when they just bumped into someone who could not be seen. Hermione and Luna in their disguises made sure to keep Harry between them. Hermione spoke to the reporter beside her in hushed whispers. It seemed that Mr. Nastrick was rather unpopular as the conversation ended abruptly, though Hermione had her answers. It seems the minister has decided to hold the meeting in here for the public to behold, Hermione whispered. I have a really bad feeling about this. Luna was about to speak when she spotted him in the crowd. He was a strange man she had not seen in several months and had hardly spoken to for over a year and a half. Father, Luna had begun to move when Harry pulled her back. Remember what Hermione said. We can't stand out. You go to him, they will take you both away. Luna's eyes held a look of longing as she nodded, her eyes never leaving her father. Xenophilius seemed nervous, and his baggy eyes looked as if he had not slept in weeks. The sight was breaking Luna's heart as she willed herself not to do anything reckless. Then she saw something appear in the corner of eye. What is that? Luna asked as she pointed to the small stage in the middle of the auditorium. Harry replied, I assume the minister will need a stage to address. No, Hermione yelped, grabbing everyone's attention. What is that? At first glance, it looked like a Dementor. It was dressed in black, and its face was covered by an equally black hood. However, it was the scythe in its hands that caught everyone's attention. What was most unusual was that it clearly was not there when they first entered the room. It stood beside the stage, unmoving as the crowd backed away from it, leaving a circle of space around the stage. Then the figure who looked like death moved, floating across the room as people parted before it. It reached an unseen door in the wall which opened. Then it turned and began floating back to the stage, but now it was not alone. Behind it was over a dozen masked figures, dressed in uniforms of white, shoulders sparkling emerald green, and a stripe cutting up the middle of the robe, glistening in scarlet red. The stripe was the only thing on their blank, white, and shapeless masks that concealed their faces. The totalitter, Hermione gasped in shock. There were two other people with them. One of them wore a bag over his head and had his hands tied behind his back. His back was bent submissively, and his clothes were ripped and torn. His skin was loose, saggy, like an obese man who had lost an unhealthy amount of weight from starvation. On the dark figure's other side was a woman too beautiful to be real. Hermione's description had not given her justice. In fact, there was only two things that could be faulted with her appearance: her slightly long, crooked nose and the coldness in her eyes. She wore a smile so large, it made her ruby lips look like an axe wound. Luna shivered as her eyes briefly met the Minister of Magic, Jane Grimhilda. The minister and her entourage reached the stage. The dozen totalitter formed a circle surrounding the platform while the three remaining figures stood upon it. Then she spoke as the crowd fell silent. Her voice was sweet enough to kill a man, yet devoid of any warmth. Ladies and gentlemen, many of you are wondering why I have summoned you here. Is it because of a new law that must be instated? It is to deal with the threat of the terrorist group of blood traitors, the LLR. It is about the unfounded rumor that Harry Potter has returned to us, along with the squib. Jane paused, her eyes glided over the crowd. We are here because of the growing Muggle threat. The minister's statement ignited murmurs and gasps. The deathly figure raised his scythe, and the crowd fell silent. Thank you, dear, Jane giggled. I love all people, Muggle or wizard, pureblood or mud, Muggle-born. Even half-breeds should not be blamed for their ancestors' perversions. However, our way of life is being threatened. Our existence is going to be exposed to the Muggles, and there is nothing we can do to stop it. Their technology does not need to overcome our secrecy wards for long, just for a fraction of a second, and we will be exposed. The Muggles will catch us with our pants down. We must be prepared to stop them, even fight back if we have to. If we are to have a chance, we must be ready to strike first and last. They will show us no mercy, only cleanse our sorcery with fire as in the days of old. I have brought you here to show you the new way of the totalitter. As of this moment, we are in a state of war until such a time that the Muggle threat can be effectively neutralized. I am dissembling the Wisengamot until we are at peace once more. The minister cried out. The auditorium erupted in protest. Luna looked at Hermione in horror and said, "Can she really do that?" "No," Hermione replied coldly, "but that hasn't stopped her before. The Wisengamot cannot be trusted." Minister Grimhilda shouted as some of the wizards had started casting curses at her. The Reaper moved and— silence. As I was saying, the Wisengamot cannot be trusted. The minister scolded. Blood traitor is an ugly term, but the latter part is true. They are traitors. They betray their own kind as they accuse us of bigotry and then side with the Muggles. It is the Muggles that burned our ancestors to ashes. They side with the people who killed your own kind, your kin. We should cozy up to them. Jane seemed to stand a little taller as she spoke with passion. I stand by my decision and will now like to get to the final reason why we are here. We will be putting a stop to Muggles who harm our children once and for all. We shall start with the beast that dared harm our savior. Harry's heart tried to rip out of his chest as the minister removed the bag off the prisoner's head. Harry recognized that man. He looked very different from the last time Harry had laid eyes on this man. He was pale, with a tinge of green, and his eyes seemed to lack all life in them. He was shaved bald, and his mustache was also gone. His face was swollen, and blood was pouring from his ears. "Harry," Luna whispered, squeezing Harry's hand through the cloak. "Is that—" "My Uncle Vernon," Harry replied, his voice hoarse. "He was, but what did they do to him?" Hermione gasped. "It looks like—" I don't know what it looks like." The minister screamed to the crowd. "In the name of order, in the name of justice, in the name of the witches and wizards of England, I sentence this creature to die. May magic have mercy on your soul, though your kind has none." The minister motioned to the reaper, who raised its scythe. He swung it down, and panic filled the auditorium. Hermione felt Harry stumbled beside her, and she helped him up. Though he was invisible, Harry's face was deathly pale as he muttered, "I'm going to be sick." "Me too," Hermione replied as she struggled to drag Harry to the nearest exit. Harry may have been in shock, but he could tell something was wrong. "Hermione, wait, where's Luna?" Luna had not moved an inch since the minister had started her speech. As soon as the scythe came down, everyone seemed to run for the nearest exit, yet Luna remained staring. During the chaos was when it happened. Luna's stare was met by those cold eyes. They stared for what felt like an eternity before the minister did something that sent a chill up Luna's spine. Jane Grimhilda smiled, moved her lips, and with a wink disappeared. Luna felt someone grab her hand and pull her, but she paid this no notice. Her mind repeating the sight more terrifying than the blood on the ministry floor, more terrible than the look of horror on her father's face as he fled the scene. She suddenly felt herself be squeezed and compressed into a tube and popped back into existence in the middle of a random forest. Harry shook, his face deathly pale, as he wrapped his arms around Luna, muttering, "I hated. But I never wanted." They just... Luna finally snapped back into reality as she panicked. She saw me, Harry," Hermione spoke harshly. "Luna, now is not the time to panic. She could not have known it was you. You were in disguise, still are actually. Besides, even if she did recognize you, we all got out of there in one piece." Luna looked at her, then Harry, who seemed to be in shock. Luna returned to her natural form, and Harry's eyes focused on her and seemed to remember sanity, even if his body was still shaking. Luna hugged him, and as he broke down, "I'm sorry, Harry, I have no idea what you must be going through." I'm fine," Harry lied as he breathed harshly. "It's just that horrid woman. She saw me, Harry, she really did," Luna whispered. "She looked me in the eyes and winked at me." Harry felt her shiver, but it might have been himself. "Your disguise must not have worked then." "It worked, but she knew anyway. She could have stopped me, but she didn't, but she said something to me." "I couldn't hear the words, but I could read her red lips," Luna uttered. "She said, 'I will see you soon, child.'" Chapter 33. The Iris of Cyrus. Luna sat in silence as Harry spoke in hushed tones. They had not been back for long, yet it had only taken a couple of hours before Luna was able to get Harry talking about the death of his uncle and his unhappy life with him. Hermione was torn between the heartache of what her friend was going through and amazement that Luna was able to get Harry to open up in such a short amount of time. Hermione had known Harry for nearly 8 years, and he rarely opened up at all. Hermione wasn't stupid. She knew that Harry and Luna's relationship was very different from Hermione's own with the boy who lived. Yet she was also quite certain that they had become a lot closer than they should be, dating for a mere 4 months. Let alone the fact that they were a mere 18 years old, Luna was actually a month shy of 18. Yet as she looked at young couple, she could not help but feel they had somehow changed. They looked older, they definitely looked their age, but the differences were there. Harry seemed a little taller and in better shape, while Luna's hair seemed to be longer, like it had not been cut in a year. Hermione was brought out of her musings by Ron, who seemed both sad and confused. "I don't get why Harry's so upset. Don't get me wrong, what they did to his uncle was bloody horrific, but Harry wasn't exactly fond of him. From what he told us, he treated him more like a bastard than a son or nephew. He was family, Ron, and as horrid as he was, Harry spent a large portion of his life with the Dursleys. He has to feel something form of sadness, and that just makes it worse because he feels he shouldn't. He finds himself stuck between hatred, grief, and confusion. He then feels guilty for feeling hatred and guiltier still for feeling sympathy to someone like Vernon Dursley. Add to the fact that when Harry was just a child, he probably dreamed of proving himself to the Dursleys, and earning their love the way they loved Dudley. He likely gave up on that dream long ago, but he just saw it viciously butchered in the worst way possible, and Merlin. Hermione, I take it back, Ron exclaimed, overwhelmed by Hermione's verbal assault. I may have the emotional range of a teaspoon, but I can still only process so much when you talk so fast. Hermione blushed short of breath. Sorry. Ron just grinned warmly. I'm just glad you're back, Hermione. I better check on the squibs, mainly those like Evander. Hermione agreed and began to walk with him. We really need to find out his real name. Ron interrupted her by placing both hands on her shoulders. Where do you think you're going? Hermione looked bemused. I'm going to help. No, you are not. You're going to go rest. I have everything under control, Ron said somewhat smugly. Hermione looked as if she was about to argue but thought better of it. She was indeed too tired to argue with Ron. This probably meant he was right. You better not mess up Ronald Weasley. I'm insulted that you think I would. Ron tried to pout, but it looked more like a smirk as he took off. I have to find Frictor, Ron thought to himself. He can run the place. Hermione slowly walked to her room, which, like every other room the LLR, was just a hospital room with a transfigured bed and some blankets. She also conjured herself a bookshelf to keep the books she had on her, which was all of them. As she was about to open her door, she jumped back and drew her wand as it started to open by itself. Hermione was about to start casting curses when a familiar voice whispered, Hi, what's wrong? Hermione sighed with exasperation as she pocketed her wand. She was too young for all of this. Why are you in my room, Luna? I thought you were with Harry. I was, Luna hummed as she let Hermione into her own room. But he didn't feel like talking or being awake anymore. I'll wake him later, but I thought I might talk to you, Hermione. Hermione looked at Luna and again noticed something was off about her. This time it wasn't a physical difference, but the look in her eyes that didn't fit her. Hermione sat down and waited for Luna to speak. After a couple minutes it was clear that Luna wasn't talking. Hermione went to ask what was wrong, but instead blurted, How come you look old? I mean. Hermione was mortified at what she said, but before she could explain herself better, Luna started to laugh. Hermione didn't think she ever heard Luna laugh so hard and briefly wondered if Harry ever had. Luna shook with mirth, even as her laughter died. Luna looked up at Hermione and said, grinning, I guess I do look older, though saying I'm old is a bit harsh. I didn't mean you were old, Hermione quickly pleaded. I know, but it was most amusing. Luna sighed as she looked at Hermione. I can't tell you everything, and what I can tell, you won't believe it. Hermione shook her head, smiling as she sat down on a transfigured bed. She spoke as Luna sat beside her. There's a lot I didn't believe. Try me. Luna grinned serenely as a faraway look appeared in her eyes. She spoke in a whisper that was normally reserved for confessing your most precious secret. I don't know how long we were there, but it felt like years. Maybe it was years. We were in paradise. It was magical. I mean truly magical. In all the ways something can be magical. Luna looked at Hermione as she continued. You say I look older. I most likely am, at least a little. Harry and I learned so much about magic, about ourselves and of each other. Luna looked away again with a faint smile. We spent every moment together, only when our host separated us for meditation or give us private counsel, only then were we ever apart. Together we learned the secrets of magic, yet no matter how much we learned, the answer seemed out of our grasp. We would break the laws of magic, yet not know how or why. It was astounding, enlightening, humbling, and most frustrating. What laws of magic are we talking about? Hermione asked softly. Luna also laughed softly. Harry stopped himself mid-free fall without a wand after a ghost pushed him off a tower. That's two right there. Oh, I conjured a crumplehorned snorkack without a wand or intent. Hermione burst out laughing, and Luna shook her head with a sly grin on her face. I'm not joking, Hermione. I know you're not, Hermione managed to say through her laughter. It's just, you don't believe me, Luna stated calmly. I knew you wouldn't. Maybe I do, Hermione replied calmly. Luna was about to laugh again when she looked at Hermione and realized she was serious. Hermione drew her wand and wrote LLR in the air. She then arranged the letters vertically and wrote Luna Lovegood Revolution. I was the one who came up with the name, Hermione said softly. Revolution was overruled by the other members. They preferred rebellion because it meant fighting the establishment. They don't understand how much bigger this is. This is bigger than the LLR fighting the Totalitter. This is a revolution of magic itself. I grew up in the Muggle world, Luna. It's very different from the wizarding world. Reality is what it is, and nothing can change it. Things are what they are. You can't transform birds into water goblets. You can't take a household object designed for sweeping dirt and use it to fly. The world is governed by the laws of science. We question everything, but once it's proven, we assume it correct unless proven otherwise. Muggles can be strange, though. They will believe in the strangest things without a shred of proof, whether it's celebrity gossip or the existence of a dinosaur living in a Scottish lake. Hermione chuckled. Of course, after entering the wizarding world, I learned it wasn't a dinosaur, but a water dragon called Newt. Luna nodded sadly. Named after the great wizard, Newton Artemis Fido Scamander. May she rest in peace. I don't know how the Ministry covered up her fatal fight with the Red Dragon. Hermione pressed on. You do understand what I'm saying, Luna. Muggles believe things without the slightest bit of proof, but it didn't make it real. They didn't know that wizards were erasing memories from their heads, but they still believed in the boogeyman, and Merlin knows what else. I came into the wizarding world with a similar mindset as I did before. There were more things to learn, and the rules were different, but in general, it would be the same. I was right to a point, but I don't think I truly grasped the meaning of the word magic until Hermione looked at Luna and grinned. I remember when I first met you, I thought you were by far the strangest person I had ever seen. You dressed weird, you talked weird, you read that magazine called The Quibbler and all its maddening stories. I just didn't understand how the wizarding world could believe such rubbish so easily. I didn't understand until I saw them. Hermione's eyes had long left the room and focused in on the memories that she saw every night. I remember you shooting that spell and the voices that could cut through air. I saw them, Luna. We all saw them, and I couldn't believe it. I was so certain they were not real, and yet I saw the Nargles with my own naked eyes, and I felt my world turn upside down. It wasn't until later on, after the riot, that I was able to fully process what had happened. At first, I didn't know what to think, but I was upset. I guess it's natural to be upset when you are proven so wrong, but it doesn't make it right. I was so confused I thought I was going mad. I couldn't function as I did before. My very sense of logic was twisted. I was forced to adapt and challenge my very way of thinking. I started questioning everything I knew and really looking into what you had been saying, not just about Nargles, Raxperts, and Snorkax, but magic itself. Even if some of it is rather hard to believe, far-fetched, or downright madness, I considered the possibility of it being true. You were always someone who I was friendly with, but I truly began to realize what you were capable of. You taught me something, Luna. The wizarding world is not like the Muggle world. In the wizarding world, nothing is certain, nothing is impossible, and the normal rules don't apply. In the wizarding world, miracles do happen. There are two types of people, Luna, those who follow and those who lead. You are a leader, Luna, and an innovator. For the Muggles and Squibs of the world, you are a miracle. Luna shook her head, eyes wide. I'm no miracle or a visionary, Hermione. My mother is. I'm just trying to fulfill her work. Hermione glared at Luna as she spoke sharply. It's your work, Luna, not Pandora's. You are in uncharted territory, Luna, whatever your mother has done. Pandora is not remembered fondly, but you are an icon. You are as famous as Harry and Dumbledore, if not more so. You're an icon, Luna, a symbol, don't you see? Luna hummed. I've had my 15 minutes of fame, but I'm nothing special. I'm not the things you say I am. Besides, the Totalitter are in charge now, and the people still love you and they can't stop it. Hermione said, her eyes blazing with passion. That's why they want you, Luna. It's why they hate you. It's why they try to silence you, but not even the totalitter can silence the whispers, and nothing can stop the human heart from feeling what it feels. Hermione, I think you've lost your mind. Luna giggled, but Hermione just stood up. I finally started believing you, yet you refuse to believe me on this, Hermione stated as she walked to the door. Luna paled, realizing she may have insulted Hermione. I'm sorry, Hermione gestured Luna to follow, and Luna noticed the smile in her eyes. Come on, you wanted to see the other squibs, right? Well, let's go visit them. It was a short walk to the housing section of the LLR. Hermione led Luna past a door that said housing and knocked on another door that said WMS. Not a second later, the door opened to reveal a tall, old man who seemed to have been expecting them. His nose was long and bent, while his skin looked like it could break from the slightest touch. He looked at Hermione and scowled. The wards alerted me that you were coming. Is something wrong? Not at all, Master Wicket, Hermione replied kindly. I was just wanting to introduce Miss Lovegood to the patients. I also wanted to check on the health of the wrongfully modified squibs. Master Wicket's eyes flickered to Luna as soon as Hermione mentioned her name. Luna wasn't sure if the healer had heard the rest of Hermione's sentence until she finished. Whatever, all the damaged. I mean, wrongfully modified squibs have been doing quite well, but one of the muggles, Mr. Davis, has choked to death at the tender age of 109. What did he choke on? Hermione asked sadly. Nothing. He grunted. I beg your pardon. Master Wicket just looked at his notes. The report says he choked on nothing. Luna tilted her head. Well, that's something, isn't it? The old man looked at Luna, and his cold, sharp eyes softened somewhat, but only just. So you're the girl Evander's been raving about. I wasn't sure you were real. What the elf man sees rarely is. Luna seemed to shrink from the man's eyes, eyes that could look into one's soul. Master Wicket leaned forward and whispered with his powerful, bitter voice. Yes, you look just like her. Interesting how magic works, isn't it? What secrets you must have, and what secrets you have yet to discover. The old man looked away and Luna shook, as if she was broken from a trance. Master Wicket spoke dismissively to Hermione. So this is the Luna of your revolution, a girl. You have half an hour, Granger. Do not test my patience. You may be in charge of this farce, but in here you're just a girl too. The old man vanished, and the room seemed to grow warmer in his absence. Hermione shook her head as she pulled Luna along. He can be quite compassionate and nice to his patients. It's the healthy he seems to despise. That's most unusual. Luna's voice faded away as they entered the whitest room she had ever seen. However, it was not the room but those inside that silenced her voice. There were many muggles and squibs housed within the LLR. Those in this room hardly fit either description. In fact, most of the unfortunate souls barely classified as human. In bright white beds they lay, some staring at nothing, others staring at everything, while a few simply looked at whatever amused their still sharp minds. At the moment, what held their interest was her. They held Luna's interest as well. In fact, she couldn't avert her eyes. They all looked uniquely different. Some were green and had elf-like ears, others purple and had strange horns budding from their heads. A couple of them were red and had hard, glistening scales. There was even one that was the color Grackhorn, which Luna had never heard of before, but liked the way it rolled off the tongue. What Luna was more interested in was the many eyes that stared at her. Many were normal-looking eyes, though most were rather wide. There were some eyes that were most odd. Some were completely green, pupil and all. Some eyes were blood red, and some seemed to glow. One eye in particular captured her attention. It had a white pupil and iris, surrounded by a black eyeball. It sat on the middle of the Cyclops' forehead. The rest of his body was covered in patches of black fur and shriveled gray skin. The eye stared, seemingly unseeing in her direction, and Luna felt a bolt of magic shoot up her spine. At that moment, Hermione spoke up, startling Luna from her thoughts. Hello, I suppose you are wondering who this is. No, A green woman squeaked from her seat. Cyrus knows who she is. Luna noticed Hermione's eyes flicker to the Cyclops before speaking to it, her eyes now avoiding it. You told them she was coming. What Cyrus sees and says is beyond my power. The Cyclops spoke in an old, wary voice that seemed as ancient as any Luna ever heard. She also realized for the first time the Cyclops was a woman. I do not need to see or commune with the magics to know the Moonchild is in my presence. Cyrus spoke softly. I wish to speak with her later in my private chamber. Alone. Toback. One of the squibs ran to Cyrus and carried her out of the room. Luna's eyes widened even further when she saw the Cyclops had no arms or legs. The white room was full of whispers at this. Hermione whispered in Luna's ear. Cyrus is over 200 years old and is close to death. She is the only magical to undergo the black magic ritual to gain powers. It cost her everything, but she is supposedly the greatest seer of the last 2 centuries. Why would she do such a thing? Luna whispered. She desired power. Of course, the price of power can be higher than most are willing to pay, and those that do often live to regret it. Hermione spoke in a hushed voice. Anyway, I'll introduce you to the others. Hermione lowered her hand. Cyrus is correct. This is Luna Lovegood, and she is here to see all of you, to listen to you, and of course to speak to you. You will be nice and polite, and make our guest comfortable. Do I make myself clear? No, we not unmake our others blurred. A small, high-pitched voice squeaked. He was covered in blue fur and had long, floppy ears reminiscent of a dog. Thank you, Darbit, Hermione said softly as she led Luna towards the Darbit, who squealed with delight. Luna looked at Darbit, feeling the eyes around her, and nervously whispered, Hello, Darbit. My name is Luna Lovegood. Darbit smiled madly. I'm not disgusting. Luna's eyes widened as she stuttered. I don't think. Hermione put her hand on Luna's shoulder and whispered, Darbit is like Evander, doesn't speak quite right. He was trying to say you are beautiful. Oh, Luna blushed. Thank you, Darbit. Darbit seemed to blush himself, though his hairy face made it hard to tell. I'm lying villain, Hermione translated. You're a true hero. Luna looked at Hermione suspiciously, but replied to Darbit. Thank you, Darbit. That's really nice of you to say. Darbit grinned before hopping off the bed he sat at. You may stay, hello, and you're welcome. Darbit walked off as Hermione said, I must go. I know what he said. Luna hissed, somewhat insulted. I'm a Ravenclaw, you know. Then you know what an honor it is to meet you, Luna, whispered another squib. Luna's eyes met another of the oddities. This being was of the purple ones. He seemed to be unaware of her presence before he spoke. Is what Cyrus says true? Are you Luna Lovegood? Luna nodded slowly. Yes, I am her. What's your name? The man looked at Luna and said, My name is Piotr. Thank you for what you have done for us. I haven't done anything, Luna replied, but the squib chuckled, as did a few others in earshot. You have child, you have given us hope, Piotr said strongly. Modesty is the best policy, a familiar wheezing voice spoke as Evander hopped towards them. That's what someone told me, or something. Hello, Evander. It's a pleasure to meet you again. Luna beamed at the familiar face. The elf-like man grinned madly. The pleasure is all his, Goodlove. I think I said that right. I mean wrong, I mean. Hermione put her hand on Evander's shoulder. Calm down, Evander. You don't have to get everything right. Just stay calm and try your best. Easy for her to say. She smart witch, not stupid squib. Evander not stupid. Evander smart, very smart. The green squib began to yell as he turned somewhat red, attracting looks from the rest of the room. I was smart. I was going to be a scientist. I studied in Muggle school and everything. Then they told me they could cure me, and I wanted to be cured. I wanted to study science and magic. I wanted to be an unspeakable. Now I can't even speak. Evander was almost in tears as he sat down on the floor as Luna sat beside him. You spoke pretty good just then, Evander. The man's strange eyes met Luna's as he muttered. He did no notice, doesn't know name or family that left him. Luna leaned forward and gave the greenish man a hug. Evander slowly hugged her back as he whispered, You are a saint, dear child. Don't become one. It never ends well. The saints make the world a better place, but only after they are whipped, beaten, and burned. Luna stared into the wise eyes of the green man as he whispered, "Not all martyrs are Saints Moonchild, but all saints are martyrs." Then, as soon as it had come, Evander's eyes dulled and lost focus. He let go of Luna and wandered away, muttering to himself about the terrible, stinky potion he had to take. "He's never done that before," Hermione said to herself. It was almost as if he was. "Normal," Luna whispered softly. "Do you see it now?" Hermione said to Luna. "You see now what you are to Evander. He looks up to you. They all look up to you. You are a hero, them." Luna looked around and noticed all the squibs were looking at her. "But I'm not a hero. I'm not." To Hermione's surprise, Luna seemed to get more upset as she spoke. "I'm not a hero. I'm just trying to. My mother's work. I can't do it." Luna bolted from the room so fast Hermione could have sworn she was using magic. Luna didn't look back. She didn't look forward. She just ran away from the eyes that followed her, that haunted her, that owned her. Every single one of them the same silver as her mother's, the destiny that tormented her. Without looking, she ran into a room and slammed the door shut. She cast some locking charms on it, ignoring the fact that it made her somewhat dizzy. It was only after she recovered that she took in the room around her. The room was consumed in total darkness, except for a small white circle that hovered a few feet away from her. Luna looked at the white circle and felt the magic that seemed to flow from it. "Do I frighten you, child?" said a familiar old voice, and Luna knew where she was. She was looking into the eye of Cyrus. "It is not you I fear, Miss Cyrus," Luna lied politely. The Cyclops laughed a harsh cackle, and Luna pressed her back to the door, regretting her decision to lock it shut. The Cyclops hissed, "You cannot fool me, child. I knew you were scared before you were even born. You will call me Cyrus, nothing more, nothing less. Compliments are meaningless to those who know what they are." "What are you then?" Luna asked nervously, her curiosity getting the better of her. "I am a casualty of madness and evil. If I had succeeded, I would have put Riddle to shame. I was so young, so foolish, I deserved what happened to me. The universe has a way of making you pay for your crimes. I find that most comforting. It is sad, though, how the hero often shares the fate of the villain. You know all about this, don't you, child?" Luna nodded. "Then which was my mother, a hero or a villain?" The Cyclops was silent before she whispered again. "A complicated question. The answer differs person to person, and often is never truly clear." "You wanted to speak to me," Luna stated, waiting for a reply that never came. She continued hesitantly. "What was it you wished to speak to me about?" "There is something that I wish to tell you, but it can wait," the Cyclops croaked. "I must say you have done quite well for yourself, but you know your time is about up. You got a little over a week before the Nargles take away what the Moon Mother blessed you with." "The Nargles aren't," Luna started, but stopped when the eye twitched. "They aren't? Really? You seemed so sure of it in the beginning." "Before they spoke to you and helped you the way they helped your mother." Cyrus grinned and looked around, though its eye remained fixed on Luna. "They will betray you when you need them most, but don't blame the Nargles. It is not their fault." Luna stepped towards Cyrus and spoke. "You see the future, yes," Cyrus uttered reverently. "I see all." "Then tell me what will happen," Luna said desperately. "Tell me how to finish my mother's quest. Tell me how to help the squibs. Tell me what happened to my mother. Tell me everything you can." "Help me, please." "No," Cyrus stated calmly. Luna expected this, but was practically in tears as she shouted, "Why not? To tell you would be an exercise in futility. I can tell you the future, but to change it, that is not in my power." The Cyclops seemed to move closer to Luna as she spoke. "The only way you can know the future is to have power to shape it. You will decide the future, not I." Luna closed her eyes and the fear rose within her. She opened her eyes and said, "If you know so much, then tell me how to preserve my magic." And now we arrive on the heart of the matter. "I will not waste my time informing you what you already know," Cyrus hissed. Luna's eyes blazed with anger. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Liar!" Cyrus shrieked, sending Luna scurrying away from the creature. You must accept reality, child. There is a reason you are weaker since your return, child. You were gone a long time and your love has grown. I know, Luna shook her head, but I can't do it. There has to be another way. There is no other way, Cyrus whispered. He told you this himself. Potter knows this, your father knows this. Why do you deny the truth? Luna glared at Cyrus. The truth is unexceptionable. I refuse to accept it. I won't. Is this why you believe in your nonsense? Cyrus cut her words deep. Your snorkacks and humdingers. Your delusions will get you far on your quest, but if you fail to see reason, reason will be the wall you smash your face against. Luna turned away from the creature and started pulling on the door with all her might. Cyrus chuckled. So you choose to remain ignorant. Ignorance is not bliss, child. It is the cause of much suffering. Trust me on this, child. I was ignorant when I tasted the magic of Hades. Your ignorance will be your downfall. Ignorance has and always will be the bane of us all. No, Luna shouted at the Cyclops. I need Harry. I love him. I can't live without him, Cyrus spoke with her ancient voice. Then you shall doom yourself and everyone you ever loved. Shut up, Luna cried. I still have to tell you something. Cyrus breathed menacingly. I don't care. Luna spit back, sounding more like a child than she would care to admit. Neither do I, but hear it you shall. Cyrus commanded as her voice distorted. It became deep and inhuman as the air in the room turned cold. Pandora's box, then the room was full of light, and Luna had to cover her eyes at first. When she removed her hands, she saw the room was lit, and the walls were as white as the rest of the hospital. Most curious of all, Cyrus was gone. Harry was trying hard not to panic as he ran through the halls with the LLR. They had been looking for over 3 hours, but there still wasn't a sign of Luna. The hospital may have been large, but he was certain they searched through every room at least twice. He was trying to deny it, but it was starting to look like Luna had vanished. Whether she left or was kidnapped was another thought Harry didn't want to consider. Hermione's group had reached his, and as Harry looked into Hermione's eyes, his heart sunk. Then his temper rose. What the bloody hell did you do to her? Hermione was taken aback. I told you, we visited the wrongfully modified squibs. She seemed to panic when I told her about how much they all meant to her. She bolted, and I haven't seen her since. And you just let her run away by herself. For all we know, the Totalitter have taken her, Harry snapped. There are no Totalitter in the LLR, I can promise you that. Hermione spoke calmly, but Harry was certain he touched a nerve. Are you certain of that? Harry replied. You said it yourself. The Totalitter are spies. Infiltrating the LLR must be one of their top priorities, and you have the LLR alerted that she's missing. You might as well stick a big red X on her back. I trust my people, Hermione spoke with authority. It's you who doesn't trust me. I trust nobody when it comes to Luna, Harry shouted before he calmed himself. I trust you, Hermione. I trust you and Ron with my life. I trusted Shacklebolt too. Hermione put a hand on Harry's shoulder. We'll find her, Harry. I know we will. You'll find who? Harry and Hermione stopped and spun around. To their utter shock and delight, Luna was standing by the corner of the hallway with a faraway look on her face. Harry bolted and nearly crushed Luna in his arms. Luna was taken aback but hugged Harry anyway. Hermione all but shouted. Luna, where have you been? Luna hummed calmly. I was speaking to Cyrus. She had asked me to earlier. I ran into her and... What? Luna looked between Hermione and Harry. Harry was looking at Hermione, who was looking at Luna like she had kissed a Noggle. Harry spoke to Hermione, confused. Who is this Cyrus, Hermione? Hermione, looking at Luna, said. I don't have a clue. Luna raised her eyebrow. You introduced me to her. How can you not know who she is? Luna looked around her and saw the nonplussed faces. She was a Cyclops. She had no arms and legs, and we talked in this room. Luna pointed at the solid wall behind her and froze. Most curious. Luna, Harry whispered as Luna's eyes met his. What's wrong? Luna seemed to lose herself in Harry's eyes before her own hardened. She spoke softly. Nothing. Before Harry could respond, Luna began walking down the corridor, speaking with conviction. I need to see them again, Hermione. We have something to say. Harry could have sworn he heard the Nargles laughing. Luna seemed to know the way herself, rushing past LLR members as she reached the WMS room. As she arrived, all the eyes were pointed at her. Hermione and Harry both panted as they ended up having to chase her. Along the way, other LLR members had followed them, including Ron's group. Hermione had been filling Ron in on the way, while Harry just kept pace with Luna. Luna walked into the center of the room and glanced at Harry and Hermione. Luna then spoke. I'm not what you all think I am. I'm not a hero. I'm not a savior. I'm not even a witch. I'm scared. I'm confused. I'm getting weaker. I don't have much time left before I lose my magic altogether. I don't know if I can finish my mother's work. Any more tears stained the young girl's face as she spoke with a determination that surprised even Harry. I'm going to try, though. I swear on my mother I will try. I can't do it alone. I know what I must do. I've been so focused on giving magic to the muggles I've forgotten about the witches and wizards. We live in one world, and the Totalitter are going to hurt it. I don't know how or why, but if we don't stop the Totalitter, we will all regret it. Muggles, magicals, squibs, and all, I stand with you. Luna nearly jumped a foot into the air when she heard the sound of cheers from behind her. It seemed the entire LLR had made their way into the suddenly spacious room. The applause was such a shock to the girl, especially as they echoed throughout the hospital. Luna's mind flashed to what was only a couple months ago, but felt more like years. She remembered how the students had cheered as she spoke to them from the headmistress podium. Luna remembered the look in their eyes and saw it again today. She felt accepted once more. Then a light bulb lit above Luna's head, a light bulb only she could see. Luna looked around her and felt fire flow through her veins. Luna spoke to Hermione, who had been clapping the loudest. You say I'm a hero, that people look up to me. You say they would listen to me. Then let me speak to them. Let me speak to them all. We shall follow in the noble footsteps of Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X. Hermione's eyes lit up with excitement that Harry had not seen since they had arrived at the LLR. His own were far more troubled. What exactly do you mean? You are aware that those three were assassinated, right? Luna ignored Harry as she smiled. We go into the heart of magical England and speak to the people so all can hear. Now Harry was really worried. You mean just stand there in public, like a sitting duck, and bash the people who want you silenced? That's suicide. Hermione's eyes shined with passion as she said, I like it, Luna, but Harry's right. If the Totalitter capture you, then they win. If I can give the people hope, then it will be worth the risk. Luna whispered as she felt a fire in her burn with passion. Let them try.